It is yet another lovely Sunday evening here in the ChairShot studio, which of course fans of the pod know exists outside of the typical restraints of time and space. It is in both England and Ireland. We're kind of special like that. We don't like to brag about it. It's another lovely sunny weekend here, and we have got a loaded slate to talk about, folks, on this week's pod. I'm one of your hosts, Barry, joined as always by my ever-dependable co-host. First of all, we got Paul.
Hello, everybody.
And wrapping out the trio, we got Joe.
Hello.
I just assumed it was nice and summery over where you are, Joe. What's it like in your neck of the woods? Is it all right?
Oh, gorgeous.
Is it really excellent? Okay, great.
Yeah. We've been in the garden for 2 days, all weekend, just sat in the garden.
Yeah.
It's been brilliant.
Today's not been so nice here. It was lovely yesterday.
Really?
Today it's still cloudy.
Still pretty. I mean, it was sunny enough today that while we were walking the dog, I got to finagle the old. Oh, look at that! Look at all them seats in that beer garden. And it's dog friendly as well. Just an old quickie, So we did in fact have a quickie. It was lovely. I would say that I felt a little bit like shades of my youth earlier this weekend, because my fiance is a big sun person. I know I've gone on like sun holidays with her to I don't despise the sun, but I burned to a crisp, and I grew up a nerd, and I still am a nerd and all this other stuff. So she came into my office at one point on yesterday, and it was like I was like 3 hours deep. Got a lot of stuff in Game Guff to talk about. I finished lots of games this week, and she just came in and said, "Will you at least get a half hour of sunshine at some point today? Bring your little book outside and read in the back garden for a while."
The watermelon shorts are attracting cobwebs.
No, this is Saturday, and this is what I want to do on my Saturday. All right, I work all week, and you like being out in the sun. I don't like being out in the sun. And then at one point I came down and I was doing it, somewhat to preserve my skin, but also just to be annoying. She was sitting in the backyard, and I opened the door and sat in the kitchen and had a conversation through the door frame. I was like, I'm all right where I am, thank you. Last week was the Big Bang holiday weekend, and I was genuinely out in the sun a lot last weekend. I'm not anti. It's just I have my limits, and I've reached them lately. But
you're a regular Nosferatu, so you're.
I am indeed, yeah. And I just move around in black and white like Timeless Tony. Do you know what I mean? Before we jump into the life guff and the various other bits and bobs we're going to do for the week, I think it was looking like it was going to be a quiet wrestling news week. Literally until about an hour before this podcast started, we got despite everything, I would still say somewhat shocking news that the legendary Sabu passed away today, as confirmed by PW Insider. Obviously, Mike Johnson there at PW Insider, big ECW guy, would be the person to break that and have it be verifiable. Not just a hodgepodge of rumors. But yeah, kind of incredible, because I said I was shocked by that, and some people might be shocked at my being shocked. But there's just something about that class of wrestler, that guy who was so out there and did absolutely everything to his body, and spoke very frankly about some of the not in the ring things he was doing to his body. I just thought he'd be around I thought he'd be 90 doing another retirement match in 30 years. Do you know what I mean? Sabu was just that kind of guy. He did just in fact have his supposed, what will now actually be his final match at WrestleMania weekend. And obviously I didn't hear it was very good, but very befitting of Sabu by all accounts. Every clip I saw was things that would just make you go, "Oh my God, why is he doing that?" It seemed incredibly wild. But
there was one bump where he landed pretty much on his head on concrete.
Yes, and the venue looked like it would just be absolutely dreadful to stand on. It just looked so unpleasant to just be in. That's a huge news story. One of the most, he's had so many different things about his career. Because I think my main thing when I read the news was like, God, there's probably a lot of younger fans who kind of know him as a little bit of a meme, the Botchamania guy, fucking all this stuff up, some famous gifs, and that's absolutely part of it. But it's also then kind of but also one of the most influential and groundbreaking wrestlers of his era. Do you know what I mean?
A total pioneer.
Pioneer.
Doesn't get the credit. And people, you say like meme, sure, but I think even the majority of people who know of Sabu will know him as the ECW guy who did the moves with the tables and the chairs. But reading the old Power Slams as I am, okay, that only starts 94. You can even go back a couple of years to the early 90s. He was the guy on the indie scene in between stints with WCW, ECW, New Japan. The guy was everywhere and was spoken about in absolutely the same breaths as your coming up at the same time. Your Chris Benoit's, your Rey Mysterio Jr.'s, Chris Jericho's. He was one of those guys, one of those attractions that you had to go out of your way to see. A guy who was doing moves like 2-Goal Scorpio, nobody else was doing. Absolutely at the forefront of that kind of new movement and kind of more phenomenal wrestling, let's say.
Yeah.
Very different to what WWF was putting forward, as you know, in the early to mid 90s. So a guy who kind of, as you say, became a bit of a meme, became known for the few spots, the moonsault off the chair onto the rope, or the springboard, the Arabian face crusher and so on. But he was a guy who was really at the cutting edge of things in the early 90s. And like I say, on the indie scene over in Japan, the guy was absolutely everywhere. It was just like a star attraction.
And it really makes me yearn, because I didn't appreciate this in real time, but I wish I could have appreciated it in real time. Just that, I mean, something that just categorically doesn't exist now, and dare I say will never exist again. But that presentation, it's so fucking quaint when you hear about people trading tapes and reading newsletters, and this presentation, he comes out, it seems, if you're young, it seems so hokey in hindsight. Well, he comes to the ring in the straitjacket, and he's what, that mask. But then he'd have the match where you go, oh fuck, it's true, all the story's true. He's the type of guy, he's made for the schoolyards. Oh, I saw a tape of Sabu. In Japan, he killed a man. He set him on fire. They had all the matches are in fire rings over there, and they throw people off buildings. That's how it works. And he did it. No, my uncle told me he saw the tape. That's just gone. That whole guy comes to the ring in a straitjacket. You go, fuck, this must be a shoot. it's just gone. It's just gone. And it's only when you look back on the careers of people like Sabu that you'll really appreciate it. But also it has so many just like weird like trivia notes. Like he was in the famous TNA barbed wire match that they couldn't air, or what was it? They couldn't do it in the building they were having the pay-per-view in, or something like that. I wish again the news literally just broke. I'm trying to remember. There was like a TNA pay-per-view where him and Abyss, it was like I think it was like 06, just before Russo came in. I think they were on the road or something. But the state they were in wouldn't let them do a barbed wire match, and so they had to tape it in the Impact Zone before. I'm going to look this up because it's going to really bother me.
Well, I know he and Abyss had a barbed wire massacre match on the same show as the AJ Styles Samoa Joe match, which I adore.
Yeah,
but I'm fairly confident that was in the same venue just earlier on the show. That was Turning Point. 04, 05, whatever year.
I think that's what it was. I think it was they taped it early because for the setup and tear down was just too awkward. I think that might have been what I was thinking of.
It's a shame he didn't wrestle in AEW, because that would have been another crazy. Like,
he was Adam Cole's mate that one time.
I was there. The only two appearances he made, so the Dynamite and then Double or Nothing. I remember he came out. I was like, "That's Sabu," and it was a quite. It's the smaller venue in Vegas, so like he was right there. I was like,
"Yeah,
Sabu."
Yeah."
And I was like, Adam Cole bringing him out though. That was a bit weird. But,
that was odd. But
that
like,
was, yeah.
There's like he like wrestled John Cena on pay-per-view once, because there was around the time of the full,
that year, right? 06.
Something like I think it may have been, because it was like around the time of the actual we're bringing ECW back for real. They briefly did a Raw versus ECW feud. There's a great, like, an all-time great Jim Ross call. Basically, not even saying words, just howling when Sabu does the, like,
Vengeance 06.
That was it. Like, as Sabu comes off the top rope and does the Arabian face buster out of the ring through the table. It's pretty gnarly, you know. Such a, like, he might be the ultimate kind of, like, trivia wrestler. Oh, do you actually know? Yeah, he like made event a pay-per-view with John Cena. John Cena's Apex in 2006. He made event in a pay-per-view with John Cena. You know, and he wrestled this person and that person. And, you know, absolutely legendary career.
And you can put as much stock into the Hall of Fame as you would like or not. A guy who should have been in the Hall of Fame a decade ago.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, albeit, as we just said, the legacy that he leaves is not necessarily WWE-centric. But from a wrestling point of view, again, the guy was everywhere. ECW, WCW, New Japan, FMW and the like. And WWE during that ECW crossover.
And
WWE.
The one bit of wrestling history and canon that they do, because they own it, acknowledge and line is ECW. They do put that over as and it influenced us. That's what they say. So he should be in that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just he should go in. I'll be curious if Again, kind of. I'd be curious if there would be an Observer Hall of Fame conversation. Obviously, that has more actual criteria, and it's one of those weird cases where it's probably going to be about influence, which is so nebulous, and it's like it's not this kind of John Cena just goes in instantly because of his drawing record. Like that's fair. When you're talking about guys more kind of on influence, that's tougher, but I think it may be interesting.
Well, like you did in the week on your stream with the most influential video games.
Yeah.
I think you have to have Sabu in terms of most influential wrestlers based on what we see today. Your Anarchy in the arenas and so on. It's like 90% Sabu spots.
Yeah.
I think he absolutely has to be in that conversation.
Yeah, and if you go by the metric of there are lesser people who are in, I mean, then he should definitely be in. But yeah, rest in peace, Sabu. Also, a very funny poster on occasion. Getting in trouble, got in trouble quite a lot, but still
not a well-behaved man.
No, not a hell of a. I did enjoy though. I reposted Blue Sky there that when Brian Kendrick was booked for Dynamite and then got unbooked because all his old shit got resurfaced, and Sabu just completely replied, "LOL, what you say, lol." And then someone posts a complete other guy posted the reply, and he goes, "Oh shit,
Oh, shit.
oh God rest him, God rest Sabu."
Did you ever get to see Sabu live, Barry?
I don't think so, which is funny.
Joe.
I'm fairly sure he has done OTTs, but I think before our time going, I believe.
Possibly.
I'm trying to think, did he do any cameos at like the Mania? Was that no? I don't think so. I think that's a big one that I missed, sadly. So you and I as well. I assume you missed that as well. Yeah, that's a big one. So rest in peace to Sabu. On the Life Guff front, any news from the week, gents?
Well, I put a bit of money down on an apartment. Not all of it, but quite a significant sum. And the solicitor asked me to, so we did. But that's starting to happen now. Finally,
it's moving. It's really moving.
Yeah, whatever. It's been sale agreed now for 7 months. I went and saw the sign for the first time. The sale agreed sign. I should have got a picture of me pointing to like the WrestleMania sign. That's where I'm going. Yeah, went in to the bank, did a little transfer fee, and so like I said, these next coming weeks should be where a lot of the movement starts to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then hoping by June-ish, that's when we'll start get some keys, start moving stuff from here over to there. So like I say, long journey of waiting and waiting and waiting. The solicitor did let me know their suspicion in terms of why it took so long.
Mm-hmm.
Which I won't get into.
Okay.
But it's maybe I'll tell you guys. But,
the seller also runs a wrestling company and owns a football club and is very busy and writing emails.
But let's just say there was a reason why it was taking so long. But as I said, now after months and months and months, it does finally seem to be happening. Money has gone from my account to the solicitor, which will then, I suppose, go to them. But yeah, hopefully soon. So yesterday, one thing that I really haven't done, even though I'm buying in the area, is I've never really spent much time in Selbridge. So Selbridge is a town, just across from where I am currently. It's like an hour walk.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's kind of where I live is kind of a 4-town area, right? You have Leixlip in the center, which is where I live.
Mm-hmm.
You have Lucan on one side, Maynooth on the other side, and then Selbridge. And Selbridge has always been the one. Selbridge is actually closer to where I am than Maynooth. But for whatever reason, all the amenities are in Maynooth or Lucan. So if you're going to go anywhere, you're going to walk to Lucan, you're going to walk to Maynooth. I've basically spent 0 time in Selbridge, which is where I'm going to live. So I said, well, what we better do is go over and scope the area and see what's actually there. Get a feel for kind of the amenities. So we walked over about an hour 20 walk over there, I'd say, from here. And within a 10-minute walk of the apartment, there's 4 supermarkets, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Lovely.
Aldi, Lidl, so you have your choice. We can be brand agnostic, or we can choose one. And the Aldi that's there is bigger than the Aldi that's here, which I was very happy about. Big old Tesco, baby. I love a big Tesco. So we do have the big Tesco. And there's a Cost Cutters, which I'm not sure I'd ever been in a Cost Cutters before.
I didn't know Cost Cutters were in Ireland, to be honest with you.
There is a Cost Cutters, which is, Barry, for you, is like a Spar.
Okay.
That's the local Spar, basically. It's a Cost Cutters brand. Found the local Macari's chipper as well.
Okay.
That'll be out on a lot of use. Now, there's no McDonald's and there's no Burger King in the town. So my local McDonald's, and this is like very important stuff, folks. My local McDonald's and my local Burger King are still the same McDonald's and Burger King I would have previously gone to, except now they're an hour further away. Which is lucky that I have the car now and the driving license, because it's just 5 minutes down the road extra. It's nothing much. But the days of going for a walk and get a little McDonald's at the end of it, not going to happen so frequently anymore. But there was a Subway. They do have a Subway there, which I haven't had a Subway in a very long time. And I was able to sit down and have the Subway halfway on the walk, and then I walked the whole way home. So I think yesterday I did 32,000 steps.
All right.
Which again, Joe will be like, well, I did that during my lunch at work, so what's the big deal? But for me, it was a lot, and I got blisters on my toes. So I went and bought some new runners today as well, because mine were falling apart on my feet. They're like, you see in the Beano or the Dandy, when their shoes are literally falling to pieces around their feet. That's kind of where I was. So, I have to tell the story of my shoes. Mr. Bean in real life here. Shoes. So I went to buy some runners in the local Sports Direct, which is a great shop if anybody's interested. Good value, good selection of runners. I don't work for them, but that's where I went, because I said, they've got good deals on. So I went and had a look at the Adidas runners. €50 for a pair of runners. Very reasonable. But then I saw the Under Armour runners were €42. I said, that's a damn €8 saving. So I found a pair of runners I liked, and they have all the boxes. So I have the display ones, and then they have the shelf with all the actual boxes on.
Yeah.
So I found one that I liked, size 11. Okay, thank you very much. Take it to the pay desk, the counter, whatever it's called, the checkout. I'll have these, please. She opens them up and looks inside, because that's what they do now, is they check the size before they send you away with shoes, because I imagine they get a lot of people coming back going, oh, wrong one, size 2, I meant size 10. So anyway, I'm size 11. She looks in it. Size 10? Yeah? Size 10? I said, no, size 11. So on the boxes, pay attention if you're in the market for runners or trainers. Big giant 11 on them, little tiny UK 10, which I didn't catch. I said, no problem. I'll go get another pair. Get the box, run all the way back over, waddle all the way back over as I do. Get the next box, come all the way back. Right size, here you go, size 11, UK, here you go. She opens it up. There's one shoe in it. So I look at her and she looks at me and I go, there's only one shoe in it. And she goes, did you take a display one by mistake? I said, no, it was just on the thing. It was on the shelf. So I had to go back then. A third time, I look over my brother's like rolling on the floor laughing at this stage. I had to go back, get a third pair. I came back to her third time and I go, right size? And I open it up and go, 2 shoes. And everything was fine then. So the shoes were got in the end, but it was a whole ordeal that made me look very stupid through no fault of my own. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. I played a bit of golf again for the first time this year. I haven't been playing golf in a very long time.
How'd you do?
I did pretty well. But so my friend who I play golf with is building an extension on his house, so he's always very busy at the moment. But the weather was so nice, so I texted him. I forget what I texted him exactly, but something like, "Lovely sunny day, eh?" Would be a waste to not play some golf. Because I've been needling at him to play golf for a while, but he's always too busy. But and so he came over unsolicited at 10 a.m. in the morning, woke me up to go play golf. But since I was the one who was asking, I said, all right, we go play a bit of golf. Beat the shite out of him on the links. 2 pars, which I was very happy about. Only lost. Oh, so I found the ball, right? Oh, I was so happy. This is like a Carl Pilkington playing golf story. I was playing with a tailor-made brand golf ball. And by chance, just in the middle of the fairway, I found another ball, also tailor-made, but like bright orange. And I love a coloured, like orange or yellow or pink golf ball. And I called out to my friend because he was over the other side of the fairway. I said, I'm going to switch my ball for this nice orange one. So I put my white ball in my pocket, orange ball, and literally the first shot, I hit into a ditch and lost it. So, unfortunately, I was so happy for like 1 minute. And then literally the first time I hit the ball, I lost it. So it was gone then. But yeah, very nice day. We had a barbecue over the weekend as well.
Oh,
lovely. Easily put on about 5 pounds over the weekend. The burgers were flowing. The steaks were flowing. Oh, the belly was overflowing over the jeans. It was absolutely lovely. And then, today, I don't know what happened to the weather. It's like 15 degrees and cloudy. Where'd all the nice weather go? But it was a nice weekend. I very much enjoyed it. What about yourselves?
Yeah, no, it was kind of quiet on my end. I had, for the first time in years, I had Indian food last night, and it was delicious.
Ooh.
I don't know why. I just never takes my fancy. I was meeting friends, and they picked the location and went there, and that was pretty fun. Other than that, pretty dang quiet on my side. Any news, Joe? Any scandal?
No, nothing too much. Just in the garden, enjoying the weather, and went to a concert on Friday. Give that review in a bit.
Excellent.
Had a nice pizza. There's a Detroit style pizza place. I love them. It's like big, thick, like 2-inch high pizza. It's very soft. Like it's not. You look at that and think, oh, it's very bulky, but it's like very light, like a kind of bread, a nice Italian bread kind of focaccia kind of thing. With the lovely crispy cheese around the outside and all that. So.
Oh yeah,
it was absolutely delightful. So it's about it really. Pretty quiet other than that. Just trying to enjoy the old weather while it lasts.
I'd love a Detroit option near me. I mean, my thing is whenever a new pizza place opens here, it's like I'm always hoping please be like extremely thin or Detroit. So please be something. It's all Neapolitan. It's always, and I love a Neapolitan pizza. Listen, very tasty. But there's nobody's looking. When it's people are opening a pizza place, they're not looking at the market and going, what do they not have? Which I think you should do. I think you should do, alas. Do you want to, Paul, did you watch some WWE this week? Or
no? My period of time, Barry, where I've been the mark who pays for the extortionate 4K Netflix subscription has come to its end. Okay. So I only plan to have it from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania season anyway. It's done. But I did watch one thing. Which was a clip from the post-Backlash press conference.
Yes, okay.
Which made me laugh so loud. I don't know whether it was intentional or not. But it was John Cena. Who, by the way,
probably not intentional. So before
we'll talk about John Cena in a moment. But John Cena and R-Truth.
Okay.
And R-Truth, who's been, for a year, 2 years, he's been doing the I'm John Cena's biggest fan shtick. Mm-hmm. He was my childhood hero, even though R-Truth is
70.
Yeah. Considerably older than John Cena. But anyway, R-Truth comes out onto the press conference and says, John, I just wanted to say, I'm still your biggest fan. I think you're great. You can do it all. And don't listen to people, even the ones who say you suck and you can't wrestle. And Cena slowly stands up, gets the microphone in his hand, stands up and says, "Truth," or Ron, I think he called him.
Real?
You shoot because he used it. He said, "You need to." Okay, I appreciate the compliment, Ron, but you went a little bit too far. I don't want to hear anything more from you, or there'll be repercussions. And he starts to sit back down, and Truth says to him, well, I just wanted to say to you, I just wanted to, as if he was going to go try to clarify his earlier statement. And Cena hoists him up in the AA I gave him the AA through the tape.
Oh, in the presser room. That's so late.
In the presser room. I thought, in line with, I thought he was going to give him like a Will Smith style, slap across the face.
Slap, yeah.
But
yeah.
and even the way he did it, because Cena's lost a bit of a step, it just added that extra level of holiness to it. But in broader strokes, this Cena heel run, everything I've seen about it, whether it's clips I've seen, very detailed breakdowns of the segments themselves. And to be honest, I've seen more than I haven't seen.
Yeah.
I got to say, it's been a bit of a bust, this whole Cena heel turn. And again, guys, we're AEW fans, granted. Listen back to that Elimination Chamber review, how positive I was on that original heel turn. I think the words outstanding, excellent, amazing were all used. So don't get me wrong. It's been a total flatline ever since. The guy, I mean, he's allegedly an actor, but like this heel Cena character has been, number one, played so safe, and number two, the guy seemingly has like no range as a heel. He just does the one thing over and over.
Yeah.
I don't know whether this is brought in a more broad way an issue with the way the WWE structured their storylines lately, because this was also true of the Cena Cody feud. But it just seems like, even with Orton and Cena, two guys who are full-time and you can have on TV and do interesting things with, it's Cena comes out and does his promo at the fans, you fans.
Yeah.
And then Orton hits him with an RKO. And then the next week, Cena comes out and goes, you fans, you're parasites. And then he turns around and Randy Orton hits him with the RKO. And then this week on SmackDown, Cena came out and said, you people, you make me so mad. And then a guy dressed as Randy Orton tried to give him an RKO, but Cena caught him in the AA and gave him an AA. And then he turned around and Randy Orton gave him the RKO. Yeah. This is storytelling, folks. This is storytelling. AEW doesn't do stories. This is stories. Stories is when one person comes out and says the same thing as always, and then get an RKO. That's the story. Shit. This is terrible. Awful nonsense. Just on the whole, this most recent one. Imagine I'm doing that tenuous thing where I go, imagine in this similar, very different situation if this happened.
Yeah, go on, though.
But so let's say Joe and Moxley, right? We know Samoa Joe and Moxley are going to have the match at Beach Break this week, right? So imagine Moxley's in the ring, doing one of his rambly promos where he's like, the fish in the Atlantic Ocean, man. They're all fucking wild, man. Just whatever Moxley does be talking about. And then a guy attacks him dressed like Samoa Joe, but who isn't Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
And Moxley fights him off. And then Samoa Joe just attacks from behind and puts him in a choke. I'm like, okay, number one, why did Samoa Joe need to have some goon come out and do it? And who was that guy anyway? Who was that? Oh, some guy Samoa Joe paid or something. What was that? Also, isn't he supposed to be the babyface? Why is he getting the to come out and run interference so that you can then attack from behind? I don't know what these guys are doing. This creative Triple H allegedly works 6 hours a day. I don't know what he's doing. He's like me when I used to work at HP, and I was working. I was playing fucking Pokemon trading card game, whatever. That's what Triple H is doing. He clocks in, fucking emulates Halo or whatever for 6 hours, and then clocks out and goes, oh, yeah, 6 hour creative, yeah. Cena comes out and goes, you people, and then Orton hits him with the RKO. Yeah. Oh, it's us done, brother. I don't know what to tell you. This is the company that, okay, because it's grandfathered in and people have grown up with it, that's what people, love and think of as pro wrestling. They've completely lost the plot. It's utter dog shit at the moment. The worst has been since pre-Bloodline, latter days of the McMahon.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it seems like it seems like even their fans are pretty fed up with it, which is interesting. But
from what I heard, the match itself, Cena Orton, was apparently enjoyable enough, but it had 7 ref bumps, 10 table bumps. It was not a Cena Orton match.
Well, it was good.
Hey,
it wasn't boring as shit.
But it was, you know what I mean? It was we've
just they have to do something else because it just seems like Cena's physically. I mean, Orton has a bad back, although he's always been that guy who can just he can preserve himself and he knows when to turn it on and when to not turn it on. Yeah, I mean, Cena's physically, done. I mean, this retirement run is proving that it was indeed a good call to
100%
to call it a career. Much like Tanahashi, it's like, all right, you know the deal, you know how you're feeling. Let's call it.
I just still find it so crazy that heel turn and the way it turned out fell into their lap, and the most they could do with it was 2 months of Cena doing you fans for 25 years. That's it. That's all they could come up with.
I mean, it really hammers home if we talked about this I think a few weeks ago, but if you are like of the belief that while he has a more sensible, logic oriented brain than Vince, Triple H is not an ideas guy. He's just not. He's not a very creative person.
I wonder if Cena being so prominent in Hollywood, I don't know if that's actually an accurate statement, but Cena working as an actor in Hollywood, whether that would prevent him from certain storylines and heel antics. Maybe, like, would he turn down something that he would like, well, I'm doing, this kids movie in 6 months, maybe I don't quite want to do that or that or that. And whether Cena himself is playing a little safe,
Maybe, but also he doesn't have to swear or like, it would be cool to see him push the envelope, but he doesn't have to,
No.
Yeah, although his Hollywood prospects at the moment are interesting because he's doing like fine. He's not like I mean, they just put out a trailer for like Peacemaker season 2. Like that check will keep coming, and but it's not like he's not exactly like Pedro Pascal where you can't watch a trailer and he's without him in it. It's crazy. Go home, mate. You've got a stack of posts in raids. I mean, I like it's mental. He's never home.
Let's look at John Cena's credits.
Put it up there.
You've got The Simpsons. He was in last year.
Oh, yeah, Steve Meltzer. Yeah.
He was in Jackpot, directed by Paul Feig. I'm sure
that was
that one.
Great.
I'm sure we remember that. Awkwafina and John Cena in Jackpot.
Directed by Paul Feig. Baby, let me get the download going.
And Sean William Scott was in it as well.
I haven't heard of that cunt in about 10 years.
The Bear. Remember he was in The Bear?
Yes, one of my least favorite episodes. Yeah, very annoying. Very annoying.
Took 2 hours to film that appearance. Go on.
Die Harder.
What? I haven't even heard of that.
It's Kevin Hart, I assume, doing Die Hard. And then before that, Ricky Stenicki.
Right. Which I heard
that was at least a film that he was a lead.
Yeah, that had a moderate bit of buzz, but yeah, it was not well regarded.
This is true. This is all just cameos, really. It's not.
That's the other thing is, because I was thinking, like he was in Barbie. It's like, yeah, but I was like a joke, as a joke one off. I mean, I think people somewhat because he did obviously he had the very shaky beginnings, the Marine and a bunch of shit like that, Then he had that period where he was in Blockers and he was in that Amy Schumer movie. Like, maybe he's a comedic guy. But even. It feels like even that's kind of wearing off a little bit. Like,
yeah,
he doesn't have the Batista versatility where he can be in a kid's film and he can be in a prestige film and he can be in a what? He doesn't have that.
The ability to.
Well, he doesn't have the humanity of a Batista.
That's the thing as well.
Talent.
Yeah. We're really. I mean, people have kind of known for years between the way his media personality and the total diva stuff. People have kind of got the feeling for Will. He's a weird guy. He seems like he's an odd guy, and he seems like incredibly corporate to a fault. And he seems weirdly brain broken. Like when you're Vince's number one guys for Vince's peak dementia periods, he seems odd and he seems weird in his interviews. He just comes off as like it's not even necessarily people call him overly corporate, and he is. But there's something I can't put my finger. He's just weird. He's just an odd fucking guy. But anyway. Let's we will roll on here with the rest of the show. I have a quick email for us here ahead of our features. It's from Louis. It says Paul spoke on the joy when the smelly nacho man moved in the cinema when he saw his face. I couldn't help
pop of the year.
I couldn't help but think to Paul's recent dating app story where a Yank asked if he was in the IRA. Could this mistaken identity have happened again at the cinema, striking fear into the hapless nacho eater? Will the podcast have to disguise his voice like the 90s UK news broadcasts? Oh, thank you, Louis, for that email.
So the allusion there is that the cinema goer thought I was in the IRA as well.
Yes, but he would have presumably been Irish. Well, I suppose you don't know. You don't. He was eating nachos. He was eating. What Irishman eats nachos in this? I have never seen an Irishman eat nachos in the cinema. Not to get all Sherlock about it. No, Martin Freeman. Wait, he's eating nachos. You ever seen an Irishman eat nachos? I certainly haven't.
Come to think of it, was I in the cinema in Ireland?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You forgot to mention you were in Arizona, I believe it was.
Yeah. I was in the Protestant half of Belfast.
Oh, no. Thank you very much.
It's funny you mentioned that because I didn't mention it when I saw Sinners at the IMAX. The one downside was the person next to me had some very smelly nachos. And I could just smell these the whole time. They were just lingering throughout the theater.
Right. How did I don't know how popcorn became the default, but how did we get to nachos? And now we've moved on to just people having their tenders and their pizza in there. I think we did this a couple of weeks ago, but just nachos and cheese. I just don't get it. Anyway,
we have this enclosed space where people are sitting really close together.
No windows, obviously.
No windows or anything. What's the stinkiest food we can get?
Let's get some stinky cheese.
I'm just thinking about like the one time I did 4D to watch Shazam 2. And it was a perfectly clean, very well kept cinema in the middle of Glasgow. There must be some 4D cinemas in the world where, like, because people are getting tossed around, there must be nacho grease and cheese down the sides and goujons blaring out of the speakers in the back of your head. I did see an ad earlier today, quite cute, for the new Final Destination movie. They put out a little ad where they're like a new special 4D and like knives pop out of it and shit like that. That was cute. That movie looks like a complete parody of itself. I kind of want to see it, but
nice.
Elsewhere on the feature list here, let's get the fantasy update before we get into Balatro 2.0.
Okay, decent week in the fantasy for me. 16 points across Collision and Dynamite. Toni Storm is just wrestling every week and winning every match she has, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. She is 13 points clear of any other wrestler in the company.
Wow.
On 81. World title win notwithstanding. Okay. Mm-hmm. Of course, Will Ospreay is on 68 without the bonus of having won a title of any kind, although he does get fucking given 5 stars every match he has. Takeshi up to third, which I was surprised about. He's kind of under the radar a little bit, given that he's lost the title this year and is still up in third on 59. Joe, I'm sorry to say, had a very bad week this week with only a Danny Garcia draw on Collision to report on. Although a lot of his guys will be in action next week. I know Megan Bain, John Moxley, Kyle O'Reilly's just started the feud with Grizzly Young Vets. So I expect they'll have a match this week as well. Again, I was talking about potentially doing a transfer this week, but I do think I'm going to hold off another week on that. So I do want to see coming out the other side of Beach Break where we are with your kind of copes and your hooks. I'm expecting that we might see finally some movement on those. So I don't want to risk taking one out and doing something stupid. I will say Mike Bailey hasn't exactly been getting me a ton of points since I brought him in. He's had 4 matches since I traded him in and only brought in 4 points. Michael, or Emile Charles Bayer-Jean Laberge, to use your actual name, where are these points, Brother Bailey?
Brother Bailey. I don't know what I'm going to do because this is a shit show. But it's just I'm looking at the list. I don't see anyone that I think, well, they'd be great. There's people that are doing better.
You look at a Hobbs and a Joe, but how long is that going to go?
No, it's like there's people that have got like 25, 30 points, which is better than a lot of my guys. But then easily Julie, where's Julia Hart been? She's not been seen for months, weeks, years.
Yeah, and that's weird. She came back.
Had a big comeback. But like she could suddenly come back like next week and start wrestling again. You know what I mean? I could bring in Sky Blue and then.
I think Bane was a good. I think Bane was a good guy. She's actually got.
I'm happy with Bane. She has been the savior.
The MJF experiment, of course. Look, we got to say, hasn't really worked.
Yeah.
And Orange Cassidy, your number one pick, being injured this whole time.
I don't mind Orange Cassidy. Like, I'll keep him. See what happens. Claudio's been just jobbing. He's been on the job train, doing all Moxie's jobs for him.
Yeah.
Garcia's he's a hammer nigger. Best paid jobber in the business.
But he's doing decently. Mercedes is doing
bad. Mercedes is decent. Mark Briscoe been a little bit disappointing, but 20 point, not too bad. Yeah. I don't know. I think I haven't had the championship wins and the 5 stars. I've got no 5-star wrestlers in. No one in this list is going to.
That's the thing. You picked a lot of, as you say,
the workhorses, but no like Meltzer manipulators.
Even though we did slightly nerf that statistic this year. Yeah, I mean, Samoa Joe on 50 is like fucking really good. But again, how long is that going to last, I guess, would be the question. He just like to disappear later in the year as well. Paris Hobbs as well seems like an anomaly, also on 50. I don't know how long.
I think the fascinating thing for this, but also just in general, is are we gonna keep up with this trios division? I hope it's not just it's getting a push now because Joe's challenging Mox, and then after that match they go back to gathering dust. You know what I mean? Joe and Hobbs could be nice little, and Shibata could be nice little earners if they keep that trios division going. But history has proven that they lose interest. They lose interest in that at the drop of a hat. You know,
get rid of it. Well, I think like an annual tournament, convert it into like a Continental Classic. Just have an annual trios tournament or something like that. That'd be fun instead of a proper.
I think sneaky good picks at this stage might be a Kevin Knight, although he's at the best Super Juniors now. Josh Alexander, I think is going to be a good earner. Yeah. The Jacksons and FTR as well.
Yeah. FTR seem like they're gearing up to begin like a big run.
Yeah, but we'll see. I'm going to hold off. I said Hologram. I think Hologram is also really under the radar, that he will do nothing of any substance, but he'll wrestle on every collision and win every match. And of course, as we come to that CMLL show as well, I would imagine he'll be on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we do Balatro, I just want to. You reminded me there when you said about Kevin Knight in Super Juniors. I just have to say,
the Ninja Max spot.
I loved the Ninja Max spot. It was so fucking good. It was so.
Can we link that to Joe if Joe hasn't seen it?
Joe, if you haven't seen this, I will send this to you. I won't even describe it because it's best. It's best just seen with your own eyes. I will send this to you on the Discord now. This happened at.
We'll get a live reaction here.
Ninja Mac is like a GCW regular. He was in another Japanese promotion for the last while, and he seemed to have been doing quite well, acquitting himself quite well. And now he's doing Best of the Super Juniors. And he had a little Ricochet Osprey style viral moment today that I thought was quite cute. In there with Robbie X from the UK, I believe, or Australia. Robbie X is British, I believe, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. So. Let's get the spinning circle of death. This is
good old Twitter, extremely functional website.
X.com. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Okay, he's clapping. He's running. He's doing the flying space tiger drop. His head hit the rope, and it's keeping going. He's going. He's going around the rim. He's going.
That was great stuff.
One of the best spots of the year, I think.
Absolutely.
He just jumps out of the ring, continues the handsprings. It catches him.
It was so seamless. That was the radio message thing. He's great. He's really great.
Robbie X runs up the ramp. He realizes there's nowhere left to go.
That's top notch. Top notch. Well done, Ninja Mac, making the most of that spotlight. Alrighty, Balatro.
Balatro 20 questions. Version 2.0, so we have modified it a little bit. I've tried to remove some of the more redundant questions. I know that my idea putting them in was, like last week we got, does this guy wrestle for WWE? Yes. And then, does this guy wrestle for WWE, AEW, or TNA? And the answer, of course, was yes again. I guess the idea was, in getting those two questions, you would at least know it was WWE specifically, right? So okay, I get that the order does matter. So I've tried to remove questions where there's possibility of redundancy of answer and repeating the answer. I've added some new questions, and we have 75 total spots, and we have 6 dealer's choice spots, which means that the boys will get, instead of me giving them a question as one of their random 15, they will, at the point they are, be able to ask any question they like. So we'll see. So again, you have 15 questions of this random selection.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will have 5 questions of your own choice to be able to, pick. Try and figure out who this person is. So around between 165. That's Excel speak for you folks at home. Right, I'm going to go to my generator here. Wrestler generator. And I'm going to pick a wrestler here. Which one did I use last time? Was this one? Okay. Right, I'm going to go for this person here. Same as Mark Miro last week. Literally the first person who came up.
Okay.
Right. So I have them here, and we're going to give you your 15 questions. So question number 1 is dealer's choice. That didn't take very long.
Excellent.
Okay, guys, any question you like?
What's a good starter, Joe?
What's the name? What are they called?
What's their name?
It's the initials.
Your question must be in the form of a yes/no question.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't want to go for. Well, we could go for an obvious one. Then it might come up. Are we going to get repeat questions if we ask? Is that
No. If there's a redundant question, I'll just give it.
okay? Cool.
Is alive a good one to start with, Joe?
Yeah.
Or is that too broad?
Is that too broad? I was thinking, are they active? Because all the questions we've asked, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but they're set. We can't get too creative with them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
This could be a more creative one. Are they currently active in WWE, AEW, TNA?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes or no? Then we at least know it's an active.
Okay.
Someone.
I think we'll go with that. Paul, is this an active wrestler in WWE, AEW, or TNA?
No, it is not.
No.
Okay.
Make sure you take your notes.
I've got it. I've got a note here.
Okay, so that's question 1. Question 2. Question 2. Are they alive? Yes, they are.
Okay.
So that's mad. We have 65 questions. We've got question 59 and question 1. We're really going through the extremes here. Okay, number 3. They are alive. Number 50. Is their wrestler name their actual real name? Yes, it is. Or I would say they are known by their actual real name. It's not a case where it's like Stephen Waltz or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's Hangman Adam Page.
Right.
You guys know this person by their actual real name. Okay, number 4 is question 11. Have they ever been a tag team champion? Yes, they have.
Okay.
Is that in any promotion? Is that the question?
Have they ever been a tag team champion?
Okay.
Question 4. Are we on 4 now? Or 5?
5.
5, sorry. Question 5, dealer's choice.
Ooh.
Okay. Joe, this is complete. This is a moonshot, but
Yeah.
just based on alive, not active, known by their real name, and tag champion, I'm thinking, right, we could whittle this down. Could it be Mr. Ted DiBiase?
Could be.
That is their real name, isn't it? The DiBiase.
Yeah. It's actually DiBiase. I think.
Sorry, pardon me. I do apologize.
But I was also thinking Bret Hart.
Bret Hart, very good. Yeah.
Do
you want to go nationality?
yes. Should we go? Let's say American. At least if it's not, then that's pretty good.
Is this person from the United States of America, Paul?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, number 6 is question 12. Are they known for having facial hair? Yes, they are.
Oh, Barry.
Question 7. Have they been on the cover of a video game?
Such a very broad question, isn't it?
Well, let me just...
You just look at every wrestling video game that's ever been released.
No, I would have a decent idea. Has this person ever been on the cover of a video game? Yes, they have.
Was it The Sims?
It is a wrestling video game. I'll give you that much.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah.
Okay, question number 8 is: would you consider them a good in-ring wrestler? We had this one last week, I believe. Yes, I would say that they were a good in-ring wrestler.
Okay.
Number 9 is: are they bald or have they a shaved head? No, they are not best known for being bald or having a shaved head. That's not to say they never were, but they're not best known for that. Number 10. Is their finisher a submission hold? Yes, it is.
Oh.
Question 11. We're getting a lot. This is going way better than last week.
Yeah.
We're getting some good shit here. Question 22. Have they wrestled at a WrestleMania? Or sorry, question 11, I should say, is question 22 in the list. Have they wrestled at a WrestleMania? They certainly have. Question 12. Okay, we got that one already. Do they wear traditional wrestling attire? I would say they were not best known for wearing traditional wrestling attire.
Ooh. Okay.
Question 13. Have they worked in a non-wrestling on-screen role? Yes, they have.
Okay.
Question 14. Have they ever held a mid-card singles title? I mean, I'm going to say in a major promotion, by the way.
In a major promotion, yeah.
Yes, they have.
Yes, okay.
And finally, question 15. I think you've got a good start to your run here. Would you consider them a good promo? Yes, I would.
Okay.
All right, that's your lot, gentlemen. You got 5.
Okay, Joe, I have a question that might narrow us in on debiosity here, if it is or is not him. We could ask: did this person introduce a custom championship at any point, or did they have a personalized belt of any description?
Okay.
And if that's a no, we'll have to. I know, Kat, but I'm trying to work with what I got here.
She's saying you're mad.
You're mad to go in that direction. Paul, did this person introduce a custom and/or personalized championship belt?
It's a very good question. In a sense, I will say no, but it's there is a slight gray area there, which I think you'll understand.
Okay, Joe, it's that was not as productive as I was hoping, because I guess my mistake there was that the $1 million belt was not a customized version of an existing belt. It's technically a made-up title of its own lineage, you know.
I don't know. I think Paul can.
I would have incled that in your
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a vanity
I wouldn't pick you up on a weird technicality like that.
Okay, fair enough.
So not debiosity, but that. So what could Paul be alluding to? If it's not a championship, is it like a trophy or a challenge? Some kind of.
Okay, so what we got here is they're not active; they are alive. They wrestle under their actual name, or what people think to be their real name. They have been a tag team champion. They're American with facial hair. They've been on a video game cover. Considered a good in-game wrestler, in-ring wrestler. Not bald or shaved head. Finisher is a submission hold. Wrestled at WrestleMania. Not best known for wrestling in traditional attire. They've had an on-screen role in a non-wrestling capacity. Yes, for a mid-card title. Yes, a good promo, and no on the custom belt.
What we don't have is any dates. We don't have any questions of like, when did they debut? When did they wrestle? So we could narrow down the WrestleMania.
Yes, because I was thinking of that for DiBiase as well.
If you want to go like, depends if we go broader, say like, did they wrestle at a WrestleMania between
1 and 5, maybe?
I was thinking from broad, like 1 and 15, just to like 1 and 10, like 1 and 10, maybe all 90s. Did they wrestle at WrestleMania in the 90s?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. We'll go with that, Paul. Did they wrestle at a WrestleMania in the 90s?
Yes, they did.
Okay. WrestleMania in the 90s. Okay. Submission-based wrestlers, there can't be that many who were never... Wait, no, we didn't have a world champion, did we? No, we didn't have a question about a world champion. Who are inactive, who were not best known for wrestling attire. Cover of video games and interesting.
Arn Anderson? He's never a finisher, did he? No. Submission finisher, not really.
Oh. The submission finisher is the thing I'm really honing in on, because I'm like, that can't be that many people.
Yeah, a beard and a submission finisher, and they run a 90s WrestleMania. Do you want to split the WrestleManias and see if it was... Well, it could have been multiple, I suppose, like 94, 98, I don't know. But Big Boss Man? No. Sure. Did you ever take a trip down to Clark County, Georgia?
There's definitely some questions you guys were giving the answers to that would point you in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, cover of a video game. How many of those are there? I mean, like,
So I don't think DiBiase was ever on the.
No, I don't think it was.
I was thinking of the old ones, but I'm not sure. We could do another date. I need to.
Yeah.
Narrow it down a bit. So like. WrestleMania in the 80s. Well, that's still a bit like.
What about if we go like between 90 and 93? That's very specific, but I don't know those cards very well. Actually, now I think about it.
I'd be confident I could think of some.
Okay, so Paul, did this person wrestle on a WrestleMania between 1990 and 1993? I know you may need to pull up the cards. No.
Okay.
I don't need to. I know they didn't.
Okay, you know. Okay.
So we're talking later.
Okay, so
late
we're
90s.
we're new gen, early Attitude Era, maybe. Okay, interesting.
Who have we got? Okay.
Who has a beard and who has a submission hold? I mean, that's the.
I'm trying to think. What are some submissions? So sharpshooter, no.
Sharpshooter, figure four. Jarrett, no, hardly.
Ken Shamrock wouldn't be. He's got
not a good promo.
Not good facial hair.
Jericho's active, so that
not traditional wrestling attire as well. That's what I'm.
Henry O'Godwin.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
No. I'm thinking, is it Mick Foley? But then he wasn't. I also really know him for his real name, but he does tick most of these.
No, but he did wrestle under his real name. He ticks most of these boxes.
He's alive. He's called Mick Foley. He was a tag champion.
Good wrestler, never bald.
Beard, never bald. Cover of a video game, must be. Finisher, Mandible Claw. Sort of WrestleMania in the 90s, but not 90 to 93, because he was in WCW. Didn't wear traditional wrestling attire. Was the commissioner. And then the hardcore belt is what I'm thinking.
Good promo, yes, and the hardcore belt. Yes, very good. Okay. To narrow it down, I'm trying to think what's a question we can do to narrow it down.
Have they main evented WrestleMania?
Yes, have they main evented WrestleMania, Paul? They have, says Paul. It's a nod. It's a nod from Paul.
I think.
Do you want to just guess? Will we just go for it?
Let's go for it.
Is it Mick Foley?
Ta-da!
Well done, Joe.
Correct.
Well done.
Correct answer.
Excellent.
So there were the two clarifications. So with the real name, I did clarify at the time. I said it's a situation where it's not like a Stephen Waltz and it's Hangman Page. It's a name that you know this guy by, Mick Foley. And of course, I was talking about, he didn't introduce his own personalized style, but he was given the hardcore belt, which did reflect his character a lot. And in a sense.
Yeah.
But not really. So yeah, it was Mick Foley. So well worked out.
That was good, because I'm always thinking of mid-carders. I don't know why. I was like, well, it can't be a main eventer. So I'm just thinking
It was.
But yeah,
This game was. Yeah.
Made sense.
Yeah, the on-screen non-wrestling role was the question, I think, that kind of was the key, really, because not so many of those wrestlers who then had some kind of commentator or whatever role as well. And weird to think of the Mandible Claw as a submission hold because it's not the classic. But I guess it was. To an extent. So there you go, Mick Foley. We got it. So this was a much more successful run than
good job.
last week's one, I feel like.
Nice.
Thank you, Wrestling Generator, for this suggestion.
Thank you, Wrestling Generator, sponsored of this week's show. Let's jump into Dynamite here, which this week emanated from Temple Theater in Detroit, Michigan, which I thought was another cracking venue for them. Looked great on TV, raucous crowd, just they're really rolling. They're putting the effort in with these venues. They really are. They found some great ones. Kicked off with a Hangman Page, Ospreay promo. You know, they were baby faces. You know, Hangman was like, Swerve, you know, we've been through a lot. Maybe let's just stay out of each other's hair. Ospreay was like, your class, really like you and all that. But push comes to shove, I'm winning the Owen. So you had your little baby faces like, oh, I respect you, man. But, you know, there could only be one. Callis came out and long story short, they set up a, can they coexist tag for next week. Hanger and Ospreay versus two of Callis's boys. I did like Hangman was like going to tear up the ramp at one point, and Ospreay put his hand on him, and then Hangman did don't do that. Don't put your hand on me.
Don't touch my boobie, brother.
Don't touch my boobie, I can assure you. So yeah, this is fine. This is a fine,
You were quite high on this, Joe, on the Twitzers or on the Blue Skies.
I thought it was a very good opening segment. Yeah,
good, it was strong.
Very strong.
Ospreay has got the worst bar going in wrestling.
I don't know what he's doing, because it was fine when he came into AEW.
Yeah, he looks like a tall rock star spud.
It's just, what is going on? I've never seen a haircut like that. I don't know how you do that.
It's absolutely horrific. He's like David Beckham out of the 97.
Very from shaved head.
Oh, God. Mate, sort it out. Absolutely horrible head of hair on this man. Whenever he comes out, it makes me think of the Malibu Stacy creator. Use my hair. You all have hideous hair.
Just Ospreay has lovely hair.
Can we get Ospreay standing in that scene for the artwork? Can I make an executive request? Is that too esoteric a reference?
I don't know. For this show, definitely not. Definitely not.
His hair's so bad, man. Oh my God! But the segment was very good. The
segment was good,
and I think Hangman especially. I'm liking the little you're seeing in real time. The little character arc. He's starting to. We had the interaction with Nana a few weeks ago, where Nana was saying, "Look, I know things got very personal," and before he was able to apologize, Hangman kind of cut him off. But you can see that the Hangman character is starting to take that final turn on the lap, And I think the destination for that is just like top baby face status.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's gonna be loved.
Very good. I thought it was very good, apart from Ospreay's hair. But strong. It felt like two main eventers kind of really going at it.
Yeah, very good, very good. And we did then find out later it's going to be Ospreay and Hanger against, is it Takeshita and Alexander?
Okay, sounds good
on Dynamite, I think.
So that led us then to Stokely and FTR. Confronting Tony Schiavone. This was really great because Stokely was being as annoying as humanly possible, and he Tony eventually stood up, which got a good reaction. But then Dax and Cash stood in front of Stokely, and Stokely was being like an annoying little guy behind them, which I thought was it was simple stuff, but it was really well done.
Did anybody else notice before that segment that Taz was sitting on the wrong side? I guess because they were going to have to shoot this a specific way. I did, when they first went to the commentaries, I went, Taz is sitting on the right. He normally sits on the left.
Yeah.
My little weirdo brain picked that up.
Interesting.
So, they continue to tease Nigel getting involved, which I thought was good.
Well, on Collision, they did more than tease it.
Ah, well, there you go. Okay.
Well, I'll come to
Anna Jay and Harley Cameron teased their new team being called T&A, which was, cute. Tenacity and the aggression, which was very, we like Harley Cameron.
They have a bit now where one of them will jump into a piggyback on the other one, and then they'll fly off screen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is. I mean, it's so funny because Harley herself is still so kind of new and still has, she has a ways to go. But in a funny way, it's like Anna Jay's benefiting the most from this team. Yes, she's returned once again, and she's still just. I mean, I think she gets slightly better every time, but she's still not, I think, where she needs to be. So I think. And also the personality front. I think
the personality is the bigger issue.
I think she's the person who has suffered the most from the Dark Order just disintegrating and going away. She benefited a lot from being the one women's division representative in that unit, and now that's no longer a thing. Anna and Penelope and Timeless Tony and Thunder Rosa had a 4-way eliminator match. I mean, don't even try and wrap your head around how these eliminator, because those people still debate that technically when you lose an eliminator, aren't you X'd out from getting a title shot, or people have disagreed that that's the case. I don't know how a 4-way would work, but then a match. It was fine. It was a quick enough TV match. Megan Bain interferes and is just in the ring, just doing loads of moves for the final 5 minutes. I guess so, but let's not get into that conversation again.
I know. I feel so.
Timeless Tony won with
chicken wing. The chicken wing, which wasn't a chicken wing.
Yeah, it's more of a
it's like an overhook with a choke.
Yeah. Well, it's fine anyway.
Well, the hammer locking off the arm is what creates the chicken wing.
True.
Visual, if we were to get super nerdy on it. But
so
sounds fucking great, so I don't care.
None of these people get a title shot. Rosa and Storm embraced afterwards, so they're if they are going to do something with them, they're going to tease it a bit longer. You get a weekly MVP MJF segment. MJF doing anything other than having a match.
Absolutely.
Hurt Syndicate came out, and poor Top Flight came out to challenge them. Which initially, already you were kind of oh, these poor lads are just going to get killed on an episode of Collision. They're going to get killed on an episode of Ring of Honor or something. Right. There's absolutely no chance they're going to get anything out of this. Not even MJF comes tapping.
No. You're skipping a very important part.
What?
Top Flight came out and went, MVP. I know we're shit and all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're listen, I know we never win. Okay, dude. But at Motor City, do you want to see? I think he said a miracle. I was you really haven't known that you never win.
Yeah.
And then MJF, maybe he did jump from behind, but he 1-on-2, bloodies one of them and power bombs him on the apron, kills the two of them. This is pretty. I would have done this with two locals, to be honest, rather than your own boys. But it just doesn't seem to be on the cards for Top Flight, unfortunately.
Hey, we might get it. We might get an MJF Dante Martin match or something at least.
That might be all right. MJF,
they come out and went, gee, I know we never win and we suck, but would you maybe give us a title? And then MJF beat the shit out of them. Dante Martin had the tiniest
little trickle, yeah.
Little trickle as well.
It might have been accidental. It was so small, to be honest.
Have a word with Tony Storm, mate.
Yeah.
I'll show you how to do it.
So MJF did, the point of this obviously was MJF saying, look, I hurt people. And so Bobby Lashley, the ultimate tease, said, I'll give you your answer next week. So there you go.
Very good Bobby Lashley impression, I gotta say.
Thank you very much. I assume we're going to get whatever conclusion we because again, if you are of the belief that this is leading to MJF bringing in a new unit or forming a new unit and feuding with these guys, do we do that next week, or do you actually do the Bobby goes thumbs up and they have a brief honeymoon period?
I think
where
you
they're
just
together?
do it next
week. You
just
do it next week. Yeah, maybe that's probably
that'd be more impactful than dragging it on. I mean, the peak time to do it is now, right?
Yeah. You had Young Bucks getting ready for their next all-star match next week. Ricochet was there, blah, blah, blah. The key segment here, though, is that they go into the locker room and the Death Riders are in there. So
Which wasn't then alluded to really that I caught on later on or on Collision.
Yeah, I think they're going to slow burn that because again, the idea is sort of that they're scared of them, so they're going to work out some uneasy alliance to placate them, I guess.
I mean, that'll play into whatever Anarchy in the Arena or Blood and Guts, whatever they end up doing.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Nick Wayne defeated a Rhino as a surprise. A surprise appearance. Pretty straightforward TV match. Just Nick Wayne beat him.
Rhino looking straight as he did in 2001, basically.
Yeah, he is. He does not age, and he wrestles a lot. Like he stays active, and he perfectly fine match here. Christian is so great. So they're doing this like so drawn out and dramatic. Is Christian going to give Nick Wayne the ROH belt thing? And he stands behind him, and Nick Wayne's like, put the arms out, like, put the belt on me. And then Christian doesn't do it. And Nick Wayne's like, what are you doing? Come on. And then Christian goes behind him again and puts the title around his waist and is fidgeting like he's fastening it, and then takes it off and throws it on the ground. It's like, he's such a dickhead. It's so good. He's so great. My only thing is that I just feel like if and when Nick Wayne turns on him because they need Christian as a face, like, I don't think Christian's going to automatically be a face. But maybe saving Cope from something will be the big face turn.
It has to be.
Then we
had Wayne's off at the Super Juniors now.
And and he's off at the Super Juniors as well. So I guess this storyline is going to go on a little bit of a hold ski for 3-4 weeks. We got our now weekly insane Young Bucks multi-man tag here. Briscoe, Speedball, and Swerve versus Ricochet and the Young Bucks. This was really top notch. I mean, what can you say? You know, these matches are now a weekly fixture. Even if you don't like the Bucks character stuff, which I certainly don't. I mean, they're making it very hard to not like them on TV at the moment. You know.
Yeah, keep doing these matches, please. More of these.
MJF and Ospreay had a little banter backstage.
Remember that? Remember the American title?
So they're keeping that flame alive.
Yeah, that might be like if MJF's storyline with the Hurt Business, whatever way that resolves, is leading to him getting back into the world title mix, and Ospreay's going to win the world title at All In,
Texas,
theoretically.
Yeah.
They can circle.
That's some good stuff, you know. Yeah, keep that little flame alive because again, because Texas is still a decent while away. Like MJF could turn on the Hurt Business and feud with them and go their separate ways, and then he and his new unit could be Ospreay's first big, you know, opponent. So that's good.
We don't need to do Ospreay with the belt against Jungle Boy. You know what I mean? We can skip that stage and just go straight to the like good shit, please.
We had Renee sitting down with Jamie Hayter. This was, you know,
2 seconds to talk him into a fight.
Yeah, this was like nothing until the brawl broke out. Hayter was just like whatever. I think the key thing from the actual interview was that she was like defensive and didn't want to answer about her back. So the match is probably going to be worked around her back injury. So they're chatting anyway, and then Mercedes jumps her. And they kind of brawl, exit scene left. Then they cut back to the arena, and they're out in one of those like balcony kind of seating areas. Yeah. And so they had this big wild brawl. It was really good, like good heat on it. Like they were knocking lumps out of each other. And then the conclusion of this was very wacky. Jamie Hayter goes for like her ripcord lariat thing, and Mercedes ducks and runs away. And like a cartoon character, she like Jamie doesn't turn around to see Mercedes running off. She just goes, ha, she escaped. Well, I'll get her eventually. Ha, don't you worry, fans. And then like Mercedes just jumps her from behind because she didn't bother turning around to see if Mercedes was actually run off. But this is good.
Different from usual. Because what happens is the Hill runs away and that's it.
Yeah.
I do like that the Hill was like, sneak attack again?
Yeah.
Like, wow, no one ever thinks of that.
Yeah. So
it was funny.
Put her in the whatever she calls her submission or face lock thing.
The statement maker.
Statement maker.
The current account. Yeah.
The current account.
The overdrawn.
The overdraft.
She hit her with the 6% interest.
Oh no, variable rate.
She hit her with the forgotten pin number. Oh. Anyway. So so that match is at the Pape. Willow was speaking to Alicia Tout backstage. Chris Stanlander came up, and that set up a match on Collision. This is actually where I had to go stream, so I missed the rest of the show. How was Okada versus Kevin Knight?
It was okay.
It was
Joe.
Right. Yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to it.
I mean, it was your typical. Okada's not wrestling like Omega, so he's going to go at 0.75 speed.
Mm-hmm.
There's one cool spot where like he went for lariat on Kevin Knight, and Kevin Knight just jumped over it. which was unique. It was okay. It was I would say on the slightly better side of Okada's AEW medium.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like Okada to
pull his bloody finger out.
Come off like he's a little bit more invested than it seems like he maybe is. Try. Because when he has those big matches, as we saw like at the end of last year, he still got it, but sometimes you need something a little bit more engaging for it to come out. It was okay. It was okay.
Then we got main event of Joe versus Claudio. How was that?
It was all right.
I mean, it's solid, but
yeah,
I think I've said in a month ago or maybe 2 months ago. I don't know. I find Claudio at times a little. What's the word? Boring.
Beige. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Beige.
All right, Vince. There we go. That is too boring. Vince, to be fair, Vince was right all along. Let's be honest.
No, Claudio is a little bit like Okada. I know what he's capable of. And then when he serves you up some grey porridge, you're like, what's this? I know you're a good cook. What's this shit? No, I don't want to say these. Well, clearly not. But I think the Death Rider, bacteria has got into him a little bit and diluted him to be that kind of like that. They're the beige kind of faction, right? And there's a little bit of that to Claudio. I mean, when I watch Claudio, I would love Claudio to be in that Kevin Knight, Mike Bailey sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's where I feel like he's best, is with these real fast, spectacular guys, and he's just bumping them around and hitting, like they're going for springboard moonsaults and he's hitting a springboard uppercut and just like crazy. But instead you get like him and Joe, who I don't know if they have, they're capable of the spectacular. They just have kind of a run of the mill match, I think Joe is actually similar to Claudio in that respect, where I think Joe is also at best when doing that kind of thing. So the two guys, I don't know if that meshed the best. It was okay. It was okay.
That was a solid Dynamite this week. Maybe
it was
the last couple of weeks, but a solid one.
I was going to say, I think it was a slight step down from like the last 3 weeks were like bangers. This was like an intake of breath before the spring or whatever. I keep calling it spring break. That was the other one, beach break.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very much looking forward to the interference in the cage match. Can't fucking wait.
Oh, please.
Can't wait for Samoa Joe to be about to win, and then the cut in the ring mat.
Oh.
It's the Young Bucks.
I hope someone has a bolt cutter.
I know.
Look out for the smoke.
Oh dear.
I mean, if all of the like AEW grifters and the like WWE anti-AEW Twitter accounts like at Jey Uso fan or whatever would just group together and argue against interference in cage matches, they might actually achieve something of worth. Why is Tony Khan having people interfere in his cage matches? Is he not a wrestling nerd and a wrestling historian? Why does he fall into the trap of WWE guff by having every single cage match have interference in it? Tony, mate. I should have grabbed Shad aside at All In when he was sitting behind me. I'm like, brother, tell your son, no more cage match interferences. We're done with it. Please have no interference in this cage match, Tony, please. I'm begging you.
I would take a bet. If you're willing to bet, I would take a bet there will be.
Oh, of course there will be. There will be. And I'm not happy about
it. How was College?
College was also
fun.
Okay.
Very.
You watch it as well, Joe?
Fun. Yeah, I did.
Fun. There was fun stuff on it. Let me try and pull up a report here.
I didn't remember what it was. I was a bit disappointed with that main event. I mean, it was just quite workmanlike. It was Daniel Garcia versus a member of FTR.
Yeah,
which turned out not to be what's his name? It was Dax Harwood. No,
I was hoping it was going to be Stokely.
Yeah, Stokely. It was. Yeah, it was.
He was the other bald one,
and they had a kind of workman like that. It was fine, but yeah, I feel like this is what they do with Collision. Sometimes with Dynamite, is like the main event is just the first match is the main event, and then you work backwards. So by the end of the show, you're like, end of the show is kind of, oh, and this is the main event. Okay.
I mean, there was at least the storyline for this behind this match. Kind of. That's why it felt a little bit important.
Well, I also went 4.5 stars on it. So what do I?
There you go, Joe. So
For a no contest. For a no contest. Fuck off. Fuck off.
You're angry you didn't give it the 5. You would have got bonus points.
That was an easy 5.
There was a fun, so something I've never seen. Danny Garcia hit Dax Harwood with 3 amigos, but each one of them a superplex.
That's
So
pretty cool.
he hit a suplex and did the little leg swivel that 90% of the people who do the amigos don't even do, which is, I think, one of the most important parts of the move. Suplex, did the little leg swivel, and pushed him to the corner and put him on, and hit him with another superplex. And then, like, a real delayed leg swivel. He was really, leaning into it for the fans. And then hit a third one. I thought that was quite cool. And yeah, it went to one of those no contests that last year I would have been screaming was a disqualification. But Cage Match did have it as a no contest, at least at the time that I was filling out the form. So no contest it was. And then we did have, as you alluded to, Barry, Dax slapping the headset off Nigel.
Okay.
Yeah. And McGuinness did find himself in the ring throwing hands. Or in Nigel's way,
anymore.
Doing wrist locks and slamming people into the ring by their arms.
Yeah.
And doing his little throat gimmick he does, where like cross chop to the throat. Nigel's great. I love Nigel.
Good little story.
I think there's a moment for throwing hands and not doing wrestling moves. And Nigel likes to do a wrestling move.
What is it? He's just assassin. It's like
he is. That is cool.
You know what I mean?
I do have one nitpick of the week. I do have a nitpick of the week.
Shit.
Nitpick of the week. One. So Garcia and McGuinness are in the ring. I imagine they're probably doing a Garcia and Nigel match at Double or Nothing or something against FTR, maybe. I have to imagine that's what they're going towards.
Please.
The two boys are the FTR boys are against the ropes, and Garcia runs and hits one with a big clothesline over the top. And so you want to see, as fans who follow the storyline, you want to see Nigel run and hit Cash over with but Daddy Magic ran in and hit a clothesline instead. I was like, why not Nigel doing it? Unless they're doing not Nigel involved, maybe Nigel at a ringside to counter. Surely you do Daddy Magic at ringside. And surely if you're doing Daddy Magic at ringside, why is Daddy Madgy the ringside? Why Daddy Madgy doing those lines? I don't know. Dadgy Madgy is why he's called in Canada, to be fair.
Oh dear, my goodness.
So that was the main event segment. You did have earlier on
opening segment.
Okay,
was Ricochet being tremendous. I think
he is
so Ricochet.
We didn't talk about news. Sorry, Joe, about the NXT fella Javon.
God.
Calling Tony a crackhead.
Talk about idiots.
Yeah.
So Ricochet beats Angelico, and then in the crowd is
everyone's favorite 2003 wrestler.
Naughty's legend Zach Gowen.
What? Really?
Yeah. And Ricochet starts giving him shit, and he said, "Oh, I used to love you, bro. You know, when Big Brock used to throw you around, and what was he say? Like, you haven't got a leg to stand on anymore."
It's such hack shite.
Really
it's so good
stuff. It was so funny, and they did the which is very good, very very good. And so then he's like, "I the fans and security come along." He beats up security, and then Zach Gowen, of course, the man jumps out and says, "Right, let's have it. You wanna knock all these guys out? You wanna bully someone? Take me on." And of course, Ricochet beats him up and steals his leg. Runs away.
But like Ricochet in the most cowardly way as well. Like Ricochet was like, Gowen got distracted by something. And Ricochet kicked him in the knee, in the standing leg, kicked him in the knee, yanked his prosthetic off, and then like put his own knee in it and limped up the ramp.
Pretended to use it. Yeah. Oh God.
There you go. You missed the man pretending to use a prosthetic leg. Barry.
No, this sounds great. I'm kind of. I am actually annoyed I missed this now.
So Dynamite, we're getting the dream match. We get Ricochet versus Zach Gowen, the match we all predicted for the start of the year. Yeah. So excited for that one.
Bet you're feeling stupid now, Barry. Great. You didn't draft Zach Gowen, eh?
Oh well, listen. He might end up with more points than Orange Cassidy by the end of the year. You know.
Yeah, so that was good. And then other than that, it was like Don Callis Family Hour.
Okay.
They had a couple of tag matches. I skipped the Anthony Bowens thing. I can't.
Oh, we got to talk about Anthony Bowens. We got to talk about Anthony Bowens. Dead on arrival. This gimmick.
You're out of here. So that's impossible.
Strike one. So you know a gimmick is good when, number one, the fella has to come out and explain every week what it is.
Yeah.
5K Clair. That's a guy who's good at pitching, batting. What else do they do in baseball? Running around that diamond
fielding.
Thing. Yeah.
Burning.
Spitting, grabbing his crotch. Doing the Mr. Burns hand signals. All of them.
Yeah.
But then he's still doing the scissoring with Billy Gunn.
Also, how does that apply to wrestling?
Yeah, this is. Did
he not come up with 5 wrestling things? He was still shit, but you know what I mean.
But is it not?
No, you go, Paul. You go.
Is it not a bit Healy, a bit egotistic for a wrestler to come out and go, "I'm fucking great at these 5 things, lads. I look great. I do great moves. I'm great on the Twitter." Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What is the gimmick and how does it apply to being a cool babyface?
But I think it's the show don't tell, because like Ospreay will say I'm the best or I'm the greatest wrestler in the ring or whatever. It's fine because we believe it, because he does it.
Yeah.
Saying you're a 5-tool player but not demonstrating any tool other than being a tool with a shit bit of ring gear on.
It's very like he's like someone who just got called up from like OVW in the early 2000s. Do you know what I mean? He's like, I got cool gear, and my gimmick is that I'm a babyface whose gimmick is that I'm great, and like also Billy Gunn is like, again, very like mid 2000s SmackDown. We've stuck you with this lad who's kicking around doing shag off.
It's giving David Otunga, and he also does look quite a bit like David Otunga.
They could be like distant cousins, you know. But like it's kind of funny because obviously he's not like getting an actual push, but like Caster is doing way better post breakup, which that's an indictment of Tony Khan more so than anything else. But like, while it's low card jabroni stuff, Caster has at least found a way to be used and has a nice little role for himself, being an annoying twerp, like a sort of Ricochet on a smaller scale. He comes out, he's annoying, and then he gets beaten up in 30 seconds. And look, I mean, we were begging for this team to end, and I think most people would have probably assumed is like, well, Bowens is obviously the guy, so you rocket pack him, you give him an interesting new character. You send fucking Billy Gunn back to WWE. You give Bowens a cool new song, and you give him a cool new gimmick.
Well, he has the cool new song.
He's a song, I guess, yeah. But I
think the song is fine. But
Caster will be on Rampage, which doesn't exist anymore. But it's just been like, if he's book one as they currently are right now, like you could see Caster being on Dynamite tomorrow, no problem, losing to Zach Gowen before the Ricochet match.
It's like Bowens.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Bowen's gimmick is that he's the walking creator wrestler. Random gear, random taunts. Billy Gunn comes out with him for some reason. he's like what do they call it in WWE games now? The like universe mode, where just random shit.
Oh, or my career or whatever. Yeah,
he's the walking embodiment of that. Like, what? Again, if you have to come out and explain what your character is, not once, but every time you come out, and you can tell he loves the 5-tool player.
He's been saying that since he debuted. Yeah, he loves it. He loves it.
It doesn't translate very well, especially for countries such as ours, where baseball is not really followed. So it's also a US specific nickname that doesn't travel very well. I mean, for wrestling, I don't want to typecast him or put him in a box as, well, you're the gay wrestler, but that's at least a nickname that makes sense, rolls off the tongue, sounds cool. 5-tool player, and the mollywop, the finish being called the mollywop. He's going to hit the mollywop. is fucking terrible. I'm sorry, it's terrible.
I mean, I think if they were to go back to the drawing board with this guy, I mean, the first thing is Billy Gunn's got to get out of there. I mean, Billy Gunn for sure.
When Billy Gunn came out with him, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe when Billy Gunn stuck around. Because the one thing you want to be the one thing you want as the 5-tool cool players to come out with a wrestler who's 60 but is still like more jacked and bigger than you are,
and tall as well. He's giant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have Chris Statlander Willow, of course.
Oh, okay. That was good.
Very good. Marina came out and screwed your girl Willow, Barry. So I guess we are finally going back to Willow against Marina, which I mean, they have dawdled on for a little bit long, but that would be still a big, like the first Marina match since the Death Riders came to be. And Willow was like the perfect foil. Mm-hmm. So I thought that would be good. And Mike Bailey Drillistico. And then my favorite bit of every week, not only this week, is after Mike Bailey won with the Time Adventure, Roosh came out and said, Mike Bailey, you cabron, you mess with the bull.
Have you heard of this?
Turns.
I loved his fit on Dynamite as well. That there's a man going to watch
auditioning for the Hurt Business. I remember when we used to do our like favorite bits of like ongoing bits in wrestling, and we had like Jade Cargill saying, "Tony, cut the shit." Remember that?
Oh yeah, that's good.
We used to have like 4 or 5 little ongoing bits that we would pop.
Yeah.
I don't know what those 5 were or what they would be now, but certainly one of them for me would be Roosh saying, "Mess with the bull, you get the horns." The oddest pronunciation of the word horns you will ever. The Eddie Hearns. Mess with the bull, you get the horns. But he's great. Roosh is great. Fucking let's use Rush more. He's so good.
What? Yeah, I feel
because he's a bold boy. You can't help himself, Joe. He
can't help getting in trouble or saying, like if he could just be there every week, I think he could be. He could genuinely be in the main event. Like
he is
main event guy.
Okay. Whatever about his matches, whatever people might like him, people don't like him, but he has the believability and the aura of a guy who's going to come out and kick some guy's ass. Do you know what I mean? And there's not enough of those. Mm-hmm. There's not enough of those. Joe's one. I mean, Roosh, and you're one, Joe, but smell with Joe also.
I am.
If you mess with Joe, you get the horns. So watch out. All right, that was Collision. It was, as Joe said, a fun show.
Fun show.
Alrighty, segueing into our other viewings. Did you watch Dark Side of the Ring this week, boys?
Yeah, it was one of the more interesting ones in a while.
Okay.
Billy Jack Haynes.
Okay.
That whole story. So he was in the news last year, was it, for a murder charge he was on?
Yes, yeah, that was just last year or the year before.
So they go into the background on him and how he granted, with some of my complaints about this season's Dark Side of the Ring is that a lot of the stories tend to fall into the same boilerplate of a wrestler who had it all and got into drugs and drink and it all went downhill. This had elements of that, but it was more. He's had a more unique downfall than most, I would say, in that he had a very, very brief real shot at the WWF in like the early 80s, right before it really hit big, WrestleMania in 85 with Hogan and that. And he was a big jacked guy as well in the era where that wasn't quite yet so commonplace. But he was a guy who seemingly had these mental issues where he kind of, especially as he got older, he kind of concocts these stories of things that happened to him. And, they show him being interviewed and showing these like pages with like segment highlighted in different colors, telling these stories of, he was involved in the drugs trade, the cocaine dealer, and he was kind of a fixer and a dealer. But then that he was like, and then the Clintons were involved, and I was delivering stuff to the Clintons, and the stories would just get bigger and bigger and wilder and wilder. And he obviously had this murder charge where he murdered his wife, who apparently had dementia at the time. But of course, the other person in the house who knows the true story of what happened is this guy who you can't believe a word that he says, because he's a walking kind of catfish of sorts, in that he's not living this totally false life. But in a sense, he is, because he seems to just say whatever comes into his head to get him attention, and these wild stories and these wild tales that seemingly there's no real proof behind. But real interesting story, for better or worse. As I said, after a few weeks of kind of some stories that were, wrestlers that were no doubt important, but then the stories started to kind of run into each other and feel the same. This was definitely a unique guy and a story that was a little bit more interesting than most. So yeah, a good week for Dark Side of the Ring. I think we only have 2 or 3 more this season. But it does feel a little bit like they are starting to run on fumes.
Right.
3 more still to come.
What about non-wrestling telly for the week, gents? I have caught up on the rehearsal, and I don't quite know what to say.
I mean, Joe, before you say anything, Joe, have you started yet with the rehearsal?
No, it's not. It's not available by
Now TV
conventional means.
Okay, you're a good, well-behaved boy. We wouldn't
I shouldn't have to go looking for it. The money I'm paying, I should get everything.
I tell you, I'll just add you to my Plex. Very reasonable prices to subscribe to the Barry Lad Plex. Let me tell you. I'll keep it vague, but I mean, I enjoyed the first episode. I was like, we're back. I mean, this is we're getting into the good Nathan stuff, and I just could not have anticipated where the second and third episode, the third episode in particular. The first half of it, I was already absolutely loving. I thought the premise of what he was doing was so inherently funny, and then when it switches, I mean, I had, I think, tears in my eyes for the vast majority of that third episode. I mean, that was one of my favorite episodes of any sort of sitcom or comedy TV show in years. It was so good.
I think it'll stand up there with the history of great, all-time great episodes. I think that'll be added to that all.
And it's very funny, but then also it just, as with season 1 of the rehearsal, it's so weird and different and meta, and you've kind of got this like Nathan through line stuff. I mean, he's kind of got this consistent bit. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. So absolutely loving that. Absolutely loving that. 2 other things I was a little bit behind. I'm still a little bit behind on, but I'm slowly working through. 2 episodes in on Andor, enjoying it quite a bit. It's good, just a good quality show. I mean, it's again, just like season 1, it's like, it's nice to just momentarily live in an alternate timeline where you're like, oh, cool, Star Wars. Yeah, I'm excited to watch the Star Wars thing. But also, like, that was how I felt watching season 1. Now in season 2, it's like, it's the thing that's actually rare is like a good streaming original. It's the thing that's still enjoyable, because I can't remember the last Disney thing I watched and enjoyed.
No.
Only 2 episodes in. I know it's people have been raving about some of the later stuff. I'm very excited to get into it. But very, very good. Very good. How far are you in on that?
I'm all caught up, so I watched the first 9, so there's 3 left.
Wow, okay.
There's definitely, I don't remember if it's the end of episode 3, I think it was episode 3, has a really enjoyable visual audio, which is what most TV is, to be honest. But there's like one scene.
Go on,
Hopefully you'll know what I mean when you see that. It's a very... stuff that kind of just appeals to the senses in a more direct way than most. And then, this last run of 3 episodes I thought was really strong. Especially the middle episode was very, very good. Very relatable to stuff that's going on in the real world. I wonder if there's some level of allegory with what Tony Gilroy's doing. But
who could say? Yeah.
But I did mention to some people that I had in one of our servers that I know you guys don't frequent it so much anymore. You're absolutely right not to. Mentioned, hey, these episodes of Andor was really good, which just spawned the same fucking conversation that happens every week of, Disney fucking don't know what they're doing. They should just remake Knights of the Old Republic again. Like that would be good, of course. You can't just enjoy anything anymore. People always have to say, well, fucking Disney, fucking Star Wars, everything's shit. Which, to be fair, is true most of the time. But Andor is still very good, and it's but is not doing very well. Apparently, I don't know if that's true, but I did see a graph that seemed to indicate that the show was not performing very well by the classic streaming metrics. Yeah, because this show does not feature Ombi Wombi Kenobi, a baby Chewbacca.
Wank Shitu.
Yes,
there's no baby Chewbacca. There's no AT-ATs in it. There's no lightsabers.
They should just, they're like, all right, they should do a George Lucas and they should like tweak it. And so, and in the digital age, you don't even have to reissue a DVD. Just go in and edit it. And what they should just do is when the political intrigue is on and when the senators are having a conversation and it's the type of thing that, like, I mean, kids are watching Family Guy clips on their phone while Mon Mothma is talking about, like, the Senate. They should just CGI an AT-AT just in the background, just walking around. So they go, wait a minute now. Hang on. I recognize that.
The Wampa comes in and goes, bam, bam.
Holding his arm. Remember when he cut it off?
This hasn't happened yet. Oh, it's a prequel.
I mean, if they use CGI for the AT-ATs, why don't they just recast it? Use like a younger giant mechanoid. Why does it have to be with CGI all the time? It looks fake.
It is funny though how, like, because when that news story came out about the Andor's like lack of engagement, I mean, I completely believe it, because I mean, the only people I see talking about it are Twitter communists. I mean, that is the only people who I see enjoying the show. Is like, there is none of, like, now to be fair, they've all stopped now, but like all my friends who like Star Wars and watched like Obi-Wan, right? I don't know. I don't like, other than like, you guys and people like that. I haven't spoken to a soul who has watched this show. I mean, even the first season is one of those things where, like, when the first season came out, I said it to people in the office. They didn't know what it was. They didn't even, if I didn't say it's a Star Wars thing on Disney Plus, I could have told them it was anything. I mean, it's a very sad state of affairs. I think it's a double whammy of, like you said, Paul, last week. It's like, look, I don't know if the kids would necessarily be super bored by it, but I don't think they'd be super compelled by it and fatigue. I think it's because I posted during the week. I think what people want is, even the fanboys hated Obi-Wan, right? Because it was crap, right? Mm-hmm. Now I didn't like it. I didn't even finish it because it was crap. But even if it was good, it was also just tacky fan service, like slop, right? Just filling in the teeny gaps in the timeline rubbish, right? They do want that. They just want it to be better. Do you know what I mean? So if there was like a less shit version of that slop, that's what they want. They don't want this thing that's like an entirely different thing that, in a way, kind of just has the Star Wars license. That's not doing it justice necessarily, but yeah.
But it is a weird dichotomy where they want something better than, as you said, the Acolyte or Obi-Wan or whatever. But then when they get an Andor, they go, nah, I'm bored. Boring.
Yeah.
So it's like they want, ostensibly, again, they want classic Star Wars, right? The Star Wars of the spin-off books pre-Disney is ultimately what I feel like what they want.
Right, yeah.
They want lightsabers, they want a new cool Sith. But then when they get it, they always complain, oh, this shit. This is no good.
Yeah.
I want this but good. But I don't think there's ultimately ever good that really satisfy them. And really, the solution is just stop making Star Wars altogether, and there's other stuff you can watch. Which is why I only watch Andor. I don't watch anything else because I hate it.
It took a lot of convincing for me to bother watching Andor, and it's one of those things where, like, it just seems like they are still allegedly making films. They're all in various states of kind of up in the air. I mean, why would you bother? I mean, because it just seems like, I mean, it's very easy for us to sit here and say, oh, I just wouldn't bother making it. Obviously, Disney is going to do something with this IP, but I do sincerely think it would be in their best interest to take a couple of years off. I mean, at the end of the day, you're Disney. It's not going to, like, and again, it's a very easy to say, well, just make something good. But I think if they released a film tomorrow and it was like the best one since, like, Force Awakens or whatever, I still think that's a tough sell. I feel like people still probably wouldn't go and see it. I think they desperately need to, but again, not going to. I mean, because there was the Bad Batch. There's a new season of that coming out. It's just, there has to be something all the time, always coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think there's an element of the wrestling fandom. When you fancy book something in your head, and then what's ultimately delivered doesn't match what you booked, a lot of people get disappointed by that. Oh, that was bad. because it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I wonder if there's an element of that as well to the Star Wars situation. But like, Andor continues to be very, very good, and that keeps me happy. And to be honest, again, there's a thing where, again, people are Star Wars fans. Fair enough. I enjoy most of the movies. I wouldn't say all of them, half of them maybe. But I'm a fan of. It's going to sound so redundant, but I'm a fan of things that are good, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's wrestling or not. But my point is, I don't, divide what I like by the overarching genre or brand or whatever.
Yeah,
If something's bad, I'll stop watching it. If something's good, I'll keep watching it. Leave it at that, and not be upset that Obi-Wan was not good.
Yeah. I think that's. Oh, and I'm 4 episodes into the White Lotus season 3. It's episode 4. It kind of picked up a little bit. I felt like it was just very slow, and it kind of always is. Like the White Lotus is always kind of a couple of episodes of setting. I'm still not really vibing with it. It's certainly not bad, but I'm hoping maybe in the second half it'll pick up and really wow me. It's all right. It's all right. I think it's a solid cast. I think Amy Wood is great. I think she's very funny. Everyone's
she's
doing
probably a
solid job.
standout. To be fair, I would say.
Yeah, she just has great mannerisms and great timing. But yeah, we're going to finish it obviously. But yeah, hopefully.
I think seasons 1 and 2 are probably stronger.
Yeah,
all in all.
Yeah,
I still like 3 as well a lot.
Yeah. What about you? What are you watching?
Taskmaster, Joe.
Taskmaster, yeah, it's doing pretty good.
I thought it was not as good as the first episode.
You don't like it? I liked it.
I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I still like the show a lot, but
I like it more.
There was stuff in the second episode. I love the submarine caravan. There's stuff in the second episode that actually felt like a not quite as good version of a task in the first episode. So in the first episode, they did achieve something really cool and then do it backwards, which I thought was really simple and really great. And then in this one, they did the one where you had to do something and then like commentate on it in advance.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Very similar, but I thought the first one was the stronger. And so this felt like a lesser version of that. But still very good. Yeah,
they should go back to throwing things at eggs or something. Throw an egg at a balloon. That was good. That was classic Taskmaster. Get this liquid into a paddling pool.
Well, I mean, I thought the final task was much better this week than last week, where they all had to pick 2 items and then they actually have to make and put the thing in the thing. Last week's one was just too crazy, too chaotic. I couldn't follow what was going on. Mm-hmm. But it's still a lovely little show to have once a week. The interplay is still very funny between Greg and Alex, and I think the cast is actually really good. I like the 5 of them. I've come to terms on all 5. I think they're all great in their different ways. I just think this was an episode where, I like a task. The simpler the task, the better for me. And the more convolutions that get added on top of it, that's where it starts to lose me. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it was only that one of the tasks felt so similar to what they had just done the previous week. I don't know whether if they had delayed that one a week and given a week break in between, and I would have forgotten, maybe I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah. Getting resting on the laurels. Oh, little Alex Horn.
Oh, resting on his laurels.
It made too much money. He's not in it anymore. Caught up on the studio. That was good.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've realised at this point it's just Curb Your Enthusiasm, but with if Larry David was a studio head. And he had just a massive Apple budget to make a very realistic Golden Globes replica.
Right.
It looked so great every episode. But
yeah. I thought the Golden Globes episode was maybe also the weakest of the season so far. Which again, like Taskmaster, is not saying I didn't enjoy it and didn't like it a lot. I do feel like in a show that has a lot of celebrity cameos, when you do the Golden Globes episode, you need more than just Adam Scott and Zoe Kravitz. Like it felt very small, even though they had like Aaron Sorkin and some others do like presentations. All the people you've had dotted throughout the series, I mean, I think you needed a few more celebrities just sell the idea of it being the Golden Globes. But I love the thanks Sap. What's the guy's name? Sal Saperstein.
Sal Saperstein. Yeah.
Very funny bit. Very funny bit.
Believable as well.
I was convinced that was going to become a real life meme.
So,
Maybe not if people are watching it, but I'm very happy that the studio's been renewed for season 2 as well.
absolutely, definitely.
I'll take all of that you got for $1, please. Keep serving me the studio.
Yeah.
That is a really, really fun show. And yeah, the last couple I've really enjoyed. I like I especially like the one where he was on the dinner date with the doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and having to convince them that working in films is as important as being a doctor and saving lives. Very, very funny.
To be fair.
Very, very funny. Very, very funny episode. And, yeah, studio. We only have 2 more studios. Am I right? Yeah, only 2 more this year.
10 up soon.
Yeah. Studio is great. I would say probably my favorite thing Apple TV has put out. Ooh, no, that's controversial.
Yeah, I guess so. No,
I
think so.
Yeah, I need to start it.
It's one of those watches I look forward to every single week. So we've covered Rehearsal, Andor, White Lotus, Taskmaster Studio. Am I the only person who's still enjoying The Last of Us?
I've given up on it. I'm not interested.
Everyone seems to have. Everyone I talk to.
I think I don't think I'd watched it in time to watch it for last week's discussion. I didn't the last episode at all. And this is I think this might I'm not really sure. I was about to say I think this is just I'm having my first it's not what I expect from the source material, therefore I don't like it. But also my fiance is super bored by it as well and has no attachment to the source material. Right. I really, really hated the theater scene at the end, the Ellie Dina conversation about the immunity and the pregnancy and stuff like that. I thought it was so tonally. I generally agree with criticism that it just doesn't feel like a ill-advised revenge mission where questionable decisions are being made and everyone's putting everything on the line, and the tone of this section of the game is very foreboding. I think we talked about it last week. Like, a lot of people who like the first game criticize the second one because they're like, man, it's so fucking miserable, it's so morose and sad, and it's like Ellie's story is so obviously this so obviously ill-advised journey into the belly of the beast, but she's got the blinders on, but my thing at the time was like, well, sometimes stories just are that, and I'm happy with that if that's what they're going for. And I think the strength of that was definitely I think like it's a little too glib, it's a little too kind of and it's funny because it's still pretty close to Sword. They haven't massively changed it, but it's just like it's not like if you like, I just feel like, what are they going for tonally? You know what I mean?
I'm just that when I was watching the scene in the theater, I didn't feel like those 2 characters were acting as if, Joel just died 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Like it felt like they had completely forgotten about Joel and their whole reason for this adventure, and they're just. It felt like Joel dying was Joel dying in this season was actually very similar to John Cena to reveal at Elimination Chamber, in that it felt like Joel dying was the reason for the journey starting, as opposed to the reason for the journey throughout. So it was as if The Rock killed Joel and said, right, see you folks, take care of the rest yourself, I'll be over here overshadowing.
Great comparison, yeah, because I remember you said about like that first big scene, probably the big one where he came out and he talked about fans, and then Cody came out and Cody only wanted to talk about John Cena and the fans. Like, why are you talking about getting the shit kicked out of you and your dad's watch and all this other stuff? This is the same exact thing. It's like it feels like
it feels totally procedural. Joel died because that was step 2 of this story.
Yeah, and I've seen people, I mean, it's so harsh because it's the show I fell off a lot before a lot of other people, but I've seen people compare it to The Walking Dead, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of like, okay, it feels like it's a show set post the death of Joel and how these characters move on. It's like, no, but that's supposed to define the way these characters are massively. Like, for people who haven't played the game, like Tina says she's pregnant, and Ellie basically just like chews her head off for basically burdening their incredibly stupid and dangerous revenge mission. It's not a joyous thing. I think they also, like, again, and I think, you know, again, watching with my fiance is interesting because she doesn't have anything to do with the game. She didn't really like it either. I feel like they have the sex scene earlier in the game, which I thought worked better because it's out of the way. I think you had the sex scene and the immunity reveal and the pregnancy all right on top of each other. Nothing got to really breathe and hit, and it was very jumbled up. I mean, I've said it before, but not to do whole stuff I like is the writer I like, and the stuff I don't like is the writer I don't like. But I mean, Amazing is credited as writing this for television, and I'm not impressed at all, really. Also, we've only got like 3 episodes left, and it feels like
of this part,
yeah. And there was a story there that they might not be filming until the middle of next year. I said it last week. I've got a really bad foreboding. People are going to be really upset when this ends, and it's been a decent kind of like there's not going to be a new season, you know, in a couple of months. You know, I'll stick with it. There's only 3 episodes left, but
yeah, I wonder how the I don't want to use the term dumbing down, but the certainly the less misery, whether that will affect how the ultimate payoff lands. Because the end of The Last of Us 2, that kind of misery, or at least that kind of burden, builds and builds and builds, and eventually, you know, really pays off in a very satisfying way. So the fact that kind of foregone some of that, it's not going to land in the end.
Because and again, there was so many interesting, fun conversations, because obviously there was a lot of shitty ones as well. It was very controversial and people got very upset. But when the game, there was a lot of interesting conversations. But there was people who like loved the second game, but they're like, man, it was really weird. Like, they really made me hate this character that I used to read of in Ellie. I did not like. And like, that's interesting. That's they took a swing and they told a story as real as they thought they could tell it. And it feels like they're like easing off the gas on that a little bit. And I also feel like I really like Jeffrey Wright. I think he's great in everything. He's great in the game. I feel like all that additional stuff, everything with Jeffrey Wright pretty much in the TV so far has been basically new. He's got pretty minimal screen time in the game. Kind of bang average, generic. I'm you know, whether it's a character looking at like their paintings or their record collection. Oh, I'm admiring my cooking utensils. That's a fake out. I'm actually a crazy villain guy. It's so generic. It's so, I think this is a primetime home box office television program. And he's doing, looking at these bowls. I bet you think I'm a nice guy, don't you, viewer? Turns out I'm actually freaking dangerous. It's rubbish. It's rubbish. The one thing, a comparison that really kind of hit me is that even though like Last of Us has quite lengthy the cutscenes, lots of chatting, but video games are still they have to be written with efficiency in mind, because the player wants to get back to the game. And when I was comparing like the theater scene, the dialogue in the game, it's like punchier. It's way less wordy, and again, that's kind of like art from adversity. I think it hits better even in isolation. Because, like, in the theater, it's like, it's way wordier, but it doesn't feel like you're getting more from the words. It feels a little bit self-indulgent, like it's just, whereas, you have to, they're very economical with their words in the game. But yeah, I'll stick with it, and we'll
I mean, like I say, I'm still broadly enjoying. I don't disagree with any of your points. But I find it perfectly watchable, even if I'm not.
I find it watchable. I thought the subway action scene was good, and I like the performances kind of in isolation, even though I'm not loving the script. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's terrible, but as we kind of said, like, it's kind of like if it wasn't the name attached, I don't know if I'd be sticking with it. But it is also a short, so I'm like, whatever.
It does definitely feel very genericized.
Yes,
for better or worse.
What about the big screen? Who's watched the film this week?
Well, I've got 2 films for you. One, Michelle's recommendation. I think she watched many years ago, called Party Girl.
Okay.
It's very much kind of indie movie starring Parker Posey. Kind of weird. What the Gen Zs would now call sort of cunty girl living in New York who's kind of party, but then she has to get a job as a librarian. So it's, it was very kind of low budget. Liev Schreiber is in it playing a British man called Nigel and doing a British accent, which is, worth the price of admission.
Very, very accurate, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's quite fun, quite silly, quite very sort of influential sort of indie movie. One of those. And then we also watched, before that, we used that to kind of, as a bit of a palate cleanser, because before that we watched Civil War, the Alex Garland movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've been meaning to see, and I did enjoy it. I thought it was very kind of interestingly done.
Mm-hmm.
Kirsten Dunst is great.
Mm-hmm.
And of course you get a little cameo there from your man Todd from Breaking Bad. Jesse Plemons.
Yeah.
Who's obviously brilliant. Other than that, I don't know, like it was very kind of unflinching, but I don't know if there was a message in it. I'm not sure I picked up on what the message was really supposed to be. I sometimes I thought, was it about being desensitized to war? Because there's some of that, but then the ending to me didn't really say that, so I wasn't too sure. The main kind of character, the younger photojournalist, kind of incredibly annoying. It just sort of does things, don't make sense, but then never has any repercussions. Not sure she even really has an arc, so I don't know. So I sort of enjoyed like the vibe of the movie and the way it was shot, and everything was fantastic. The actual like craft and direction of it was great, but the characters and the story, it felt just like it was kind of almost like a video game. So,
Yeah.
just sort of, they're just progressing towards this target, and then they get there, and then they finish it. I'm like, okay. So yeah, I liked it enough though.
Yeah, I like Civil War.
I like Civil War. Yeah. No films for you, Paul?
No, I mean, I know that Alex Garland has a new movie out. I haven't got around to checking it out yet. Warfare. Civil War, new one.
I mean, it seems similarly kind of like, hey man, war is bad, man.
Sure is.
Yeah, people seem not super impressed with it, but I do want to check it out. Will Poulter is it?
I don't know. I don't really know anything about it. Yeah, I've been a little hit and miss on Alex Garland anyway.
Oh yeah, me too, big time.
I've been up and down.
I mostly like his stuff, but yeah, I mean, actually, I feel like I was the only person who liked Men. I mean,
I never saw it.
Yeah, everyone kind of harped on about how kind of obvious it was. I was like, well, whatever. I'm increasingly feeling like I don't care about that in general when people are making a satire or a commentary. I don't really care. Like, it's like if you can do it fun and artistically and interestingly, then that's fine. I don't want to have to Google Men ending explained afterwards to guess what it's about. I'm happy to leave the cinema knowing what happened, to be honest. But yeah.
I mean, I liked Ex Machina a lot. Dread, I quite liked. Annihilation, I didn't really like at all.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I kind of felt like
Civil
people
War.
still talk about that movie like it was one of the best. I kind of want to rewatch it because people still go on about that like it was a big.
I didn't get out of it. And of course, Party Girl, starring Parker Posey, who's in that series of White Lotus that Barry is watching today. Oh, it comes full circle. She's actually one of the standouts of that season.
she's very funny. She is very funny.
She is kind of like the only person in it, maybe along with Amy Lou Wood, who like realizes they're in a comedy show.
Yes,
everyone else plays it very straight, and those two are like fun.
Yeah.
Especially Parker Posey. She's very funny. Very, very funny.
How's Oblivion going for you on the video game front?
Oh, loving Oblivion, but it is Oblivion, for better or worse. So I mean,
right.
I've had about 5 full on game crashes at this point, which is a little bit annoying.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I do save off enough that it's never been an issue where I've had to like backtrack more than 45 seconds or whatever. But I am very much enjoying it. It definitely feels much smaller. It's kind of like have you ever gone back to your childhood school as an adult? I mean, like, this place is fucking tiny. Like, when I went to vote the last time, I walked through the little assembly hall, and I was like, I used to think this was the size of damn Wembley Stadium. Now it's this little tiny room. Mm. That's what Oblivion feels like. Oblivion, because it was, certainly for me, the first game of its type that I ever played, where you have this huge, sprawling open world and all these different towns to went to. In my head, revisiting it, I was like, oh, this is going to take me 500 hours to beat. And I'd say I've played it for 30-ish. And I feel like I'm at least approaching like halfway of having basically everything in the game done. I know there are, not infinite, but there are a huge number of random dungeons and forts and stuff that you can go in, and little caves you can go in and clear out, get the loot, whatever. But none of that is mandatory, and you know they're really great diversions, which stuff like Starfield badly lacked, as we talked about. Because I still love going, oh, my quest is over here, I'm just going to fucking walk that way, and oh, there's a cave on the way, let me go in here and kill a few spiders and that. So that's still very fun. But like, in terms of the scope of the overall game, it's actually not huge. I guess we've just got used over the years to your Assassin's Creed and your Skyrims, where the map has GTA. The map's just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you go back to Oblivion, it's quite quaint. Like, the map isn't actually that big. But I think I said last week, and it continues to be true, the one thing that Oblivion has over even Skyrim, but certainly a lot of those other games, is that the quests are written in such a creative way that even when you're doing something very fundamental or something very basic, like a fetch quest, what is on the surface a fetch quest, the way it's told to you is in such a fun, unique way. So there's one Mages Guild quest where you have to go, there's a very special ring, which is on this one wizard who fell down a well. The bottom of the well with the ring on. And we basically, for all intents and purposes, lost the ring because he's fucking down at the bottom of the well. So if you want to join our guild, you have to go retrieve that ring. And you go down to the well, you get the ring. And the ring is like a special ring with a power of plus 10,000 weight or something. So you get stuck at the bottom of the well with the ring. And you have to like take it off to be able to go up and get air again. And you're like, how the fuck do I get this ring out? So stuff like that, where it's just, they're super creative with the various quests and the various characters you meet, and kind of the ugliness of the characters by virtue of the big Xbox 360 models still kind of shines through. It still has that fun, quaint kind of feel to it. So yeah, I'll probably play it for another. I mean, I'm not running out of steam. I'm certainly still very much enjoying, despite the frequency of the crashes. But yeah, really fun. I mean, if anyone out there enjoys the Skyrims of the world, I feel like you can definitely go back to Oblivion. It's not like too far a step backwards. Mechanically, it's still fine and plays well. But if you did play Oblivion at the time and you've any kind of nostalgia for it, it's just the most fun to play. It's the comfiest blanket of a game you'll ever come across. I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, it's a shame it seems in fairly rough nick. I know. It seemed like at launch it was, and yeah, I suppose that's that. I'd rather not crash.
That's true. And I mean, one thing I want to talk about as well as Oblivion is just the Xbox situation at the moment. With does seem like they're edging further and further towards not being a classic hardware developer anymore and moving more into the generic space. We've seen, obviously, over the year, Indiana Jones and various other Xbox exclusive games making their way to PlayStation. And then we saw this week the Gears of War Reloaded or whatever it was going to PlayStation. And okay, Indiana Jones, not exactly an Xbox icon. It might be more known for those movies they made back in the 80s. But I mean, Gears of War, that's a mascot shooter. That's an Xbox mascot. Marcus Phoenix's big face. Coming to PlayStation, I mean, it does feel like this generation, Microsoft, even with, you know, user and consumer friendly stuff like Game Pass, it's just got too far away from them. They're lagging so far behind now. Sony and Nintendo, who each seem like have their own niche just wrapped up. Like they're ironclad. You're not getting into either of those cool gangs unless you become part of them, which is what it seems like is happening. So yeah, I mean, it does feel like while Microsoft will probably continue to produce their consoles to some level, I don't feel like we're going to be seeing many Xbox exclusives anymore, which is crazy given the amount of like buy-in that Xbox had in terms of purchasing a lot of these companies, your Bethesdas and your Activisions of the world, only for it to not really work out because, I mean, ultimately it felt from the beginning that they never really were fully in on like exclusivity. Even when they got Activision by virtue of, but Call of Duty will still be on PlayStation. I mean, that was the first red in a sense. So yeah, I mean, I just have my Xbox here. It's still my primary system, but I feel like we're on death's door for these lads, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, but I think I'm curious if they'll release another thing. I'd say they probably will, but you're kind of thinking like, why would anyone bother buying? You know,
it is kind of why would you buy a PlayStation that you can't play PlayStation exclusives on? That feels like what it is, right? It's, unless the idea was for it to be a cut price. Here's a system that you can play most games on. You know, most of your third.
And I think they'll lean. They'll probably keep selling a box for a while because I suppose the big thing is for people who don't want a PC but want a Game Pass machine, and they're like, all right, I might buy a PlayStation so I can play those games and Gears of War, or I could just play like that'll be their appeal. But I don't see that shifting a whole lot of units these days. But we'll see.
And even with their previous idea of come to Xbox and then 6 months later comes to PlayStation, I get the idea, but I feel like they're at the stage now where they're only kind of hurting themselves with that.
Yeah.
So, oh well, Nintendo. I mean, Xbox Game Pass probably will be on PlayStation and Nintendo before long as well.
Well, that's the other thing as well. Yeah, at some point will that happen? You know, which will be interesting to see. Excuse me. I wrapped up a couple of Game Pass titles that I've been chipping away at for the last while. I finished South of Midnight, which I absolutely loved. I mean, that is my front runner game of the year at the moment.
Ooh.
It's such a wonderful very. It's a wonderfully like unified vision. It just feels like that team was just super focused. They've got the music, they've got the visuals, they've got the story flowing. This is the kind of set in like the deep south of America. You're it's tying into a sort of a mythology and a lore that I'm not really familiar with, but it's super creative. Right. It's like an action platformer. The weak link is kind of the gameplay, but I still think it's well worth looking into, even if you don't have Game Pass. I mean, I think it's on. I'm not sure what else is on it, but I think it's available elsewhere as well. Yeah, absolutely love that. I finished Atomfall, which is the kind of open world survival thing. That was really fantastic. Again, I said last week, it's not really as similar to Fallout as its aesthetics might present, but I found the final third of that game to be very Fallout-y, if you like 3 in New Vegas, where you've got like multiple routes. You've got various people have given you like a sales pitch on what they want you to do in the end game, and it's pretty much up to you how that story concludes. And I found that very satisfying. I found the way all that stuff tied together to be very satisfying. Very cool game. I mean, a really nice mid-sized game. Like it's an open world game, but I beat it in like 10 hours. And I was doing a lot of exploring. I met pretty much every major character, and I had the suite of options laid bare for me before I chose my ending. So that's the type of thing that you could kind of rip through in a week or even a weekend if you had nothing else on. I was going to go back to Avowed, right? Because I was on like a streak. I was like, I'm finishing up this stuff, and I'm uninstalling games. I'm finished. I'm like, let's stick with it. I was going to play Avowed, and in my first instance of this, since I got the PC, either the latest patch or my latest like graphics card driver update broke Avowed. I don't know which one, and I didn't really care enough to sit here troubleshooting all afternoon. So I was like, I'll just wait for the next patch. It won't boot for me. Like, it won't even boot at all. And I was like, I'll wait for them to patch it, and I'll go back to it, because I am enjoying Avowed. And since I was unable to jump back into that, I said I'll start something new. I dabbled a little bit in Blueprints. Have you seen any of this, or have you played any of this?
No, but I've only heard good things about it.
Yeah, this is the kind of like first person like exploration game where you're around
the Witness is what I've heard it likened it to.
Very witnessy. Yeah, it's like a puzzle game. Like every time you're in this big, very fancy mansion, and every time you go to a door, you draft the room you're about to walk into, and it's an exploration game. It's about finding a mysterious hidden room somewhere in there. I'm early, but I played the demo of this like a couple months ago. It's cool. I never played The Witness based on the way people talked about it, and I'm kind of feeling like, am I going to get this? I don't know if I'm going to get it. I don't know if it's going to click for me. I'm not a very puzzle-minded person. It's cool, but the jury's out on Blueprints for me. I might not have the brain for it.
Okay.
And
I've heard it likened to other puzzle games where you need a notepad to play.
Yes, I have. Where is it? Do I have it right here?
You have your notepad.
I can live read my Blueprints note. God, my handwriting is dreadful. Blue means true. Red memos are lies. I found a note with that written on it, right? And I've also heard people reference like taking screenshots and stuff like that of this game for their own reference. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? I found this thing. I found a memo and it said blue memos are true, red memos are lies. And then in like a couple of pixels high worth of text, it said, unless written something. It was so fucking hard to read, intentionally, obviously, because they weren't going to. But I was like, I don't know if I can do the whole screenshot it and then open it in a fucking, Photoshop and zoom in. I don't know because I heard people talking that way about The Witness as well. It's like I don't care enough about it. I don't care enough to do that level of tomfoolery. The other thing I checked out was I checked out Le Video Game Français, the Clair Obscur Expedition 33. We work for the Ubisoft. We don't like it. They that game has kind of become like Boyhood. It took 12 years to make thing. Clair Obscur has kind of become, everyone just loves it. This was made by 30 people only, and they used to work at Ubisoft and they hated it there. They started making this game there and then they left it. Like it is a big indie success, and I mean, you've probably seen images and videos of it, but let me tell you, it is unbelievable looking. It is graphically unbelievable for a tiny team. But I'm sick of hearing about how this game was made by a small team. I'm fucking sick of hearing about it. This is a turn-based RPG. This is a real deal RPG. Like, this is for your Persona and your Final Fantasy perverts, but I'm not. It's a turn-based RPG where you have your party. It's set in this very fantastical, extremely French fantasy world where it's like kind of post-apocalyptic, and there's this mysterious like godlike figure that she draws an age in the sky, and at the end of that year, everyone who is that age disappears. They literally Thanos dust into thin air. Right. And so a cohort of people go off every year to try and defeat her, and they never have so far. So very, very weird, very kind of ethereal universe. And it's also, it doesn't make the mistake of explaining too much. It does not lord up on you. It's cool. I really like it. I'm not a turn-based RPG guy at all. I think if you are, at this stage, it's also one of the best reviewed games of the year, so you don't need me to say this. If you're into your turn-based games, this is for you. They try to make it a little bit more active. It has like an active parry system. So you do your turn-based, you pick your attack from a menu, your enemy, and then when your enemy attacks, it has a real-time dodging and parrying system. So you can dodge every single enemy attack and take no damage. There's like no visual indicators on that. You kind of just have to watch the animation and hope you get it right, which I don't love. Because again, it's a fantasy game, so you're fighting these big robot golems with laser swords, and they're doing big elaborate twists and turns in the air. I'm like, okay, I don't know when you're gonna hit me. And like, I need a classic video game ping off the sword right before they swing it at me or something like that. It's very cool. It's very, very cool. As someone who, this is not my genre at all, I think it's really cool, and it is. It is one of those games where even the screenshots and videos don't do it justice. It's absolutely jaw-dropping the way it looks. I'm very pleasantly surprised with that. I'm going to stick with that, and I'll probably report back on that next week. And Blueprints will we'll see how it goes. I want to give it people. It's one of those things where I've heard a lot of people like me who are like, I don't know, and then there are people who will fucking die for it, because I think you either have that kind of brain or you don't. Some people do absolutely love it. Do we have a book off this week? Enough free time, folks.
We do have the book. I read the second book of the year.
Fantastic.
Calm down.
I read a book called These Are the Plunderers, which is all about it's going to sound very exciting, all about private equity firms in the US who, you'll know them, the kind of vulture capitalists who they will, a little bit like the Glazer family when they bought Manchester United. It's probably a good comparison. They basically buy out a company, but heavily leveraged, which means they use debt to buy the company. And then they will proceed to fire everyone, fire as many people as they can, cut back on costs, make things incredibly poor quality and dangerous, extract as much money as they can. If the firm owns property, they'll sell off the property and then lease it back so that they get the money straight away, and then the firm is on the hook for paying rent forever instead of owning the property outright. Do a lot of these things, and then when it's time, when everything's kind of burnt out, they'll basically sell the company off for as much as they can get. So it kind of talks about the history of this since really starting in the 80s, the rise of this, and many of your favorite kind of high street brands or favorite businesses, including the likes in the UK of like a Debenhams, and recently like Asda, the supermarket. Again, these firms buy them up, they load it with debt. The company that would have been successful otherwise, that was making money, that was profitable, can't cope because it has $600 million or pounds of debt, and it ends up closing. Employees all get laid off. Pensions don't get defunded. The government has to step in, which is of course the taxpayer. Yes, so this is the story of the book, and it goes into a lot of detail of how these companies work. It's and examples of the most kind of egregious cases. It's an infuriating book, obviously, as you can tell from my description, because it's about these people who get no comeuppance, but very interesting. A little bit dry because it does focus on a lot of kind of facts and figures rather than necessarily. I thought it might get a bit more into the human aspect of this, like talking to people that have been laid off, just telling their story. It does that at points, but then there's a lot of like, this company bought this company for this much, and that made them this. There's a lot of that. So it was hard going a little bit, but overall kind of worth it. Because I think it's very enlightening and good to read that kind of thing. But finished with that now. So pretty good. I wouldn't say like recommend it unless you're really interested in the subject. But it was very, very well done. Yeah, and I'm moving on to my next book, which is a bit lighter, which is Best Movie Year Ever, which is a book all about 1999 and the year in cinema. So it kind of recaps the story of all the iconic movies from that year. Your American Beauty, your Blair Witch Project, your Matrix, your Magnolia, all those kind of movies. So bit of a fun read. We also went to a concert on Friday. Saw a little fella who goes by the name of Beirut. I'd never heard of him. It's one of Michelle's picks. Sort of very orchestral kind of mute. I think orchestral folk is how you describe it. It was nice though. I enjoyed it. And then the best part was at the end, when he did the encore, he brought out a juggler and
all right, Dave Meltzer's brother, was it?
You're right. It was a juggler and like was it a fire eater? What did the other guy do? It was like kind of where they stand on, one person stands on the other and they kind of do the gymnastic-y acrobats. Yeah, juggling and acrobats. Although when we were on the way there, I thought Michelle had said at the end he brings out a juggalo. I was like,
oh my god! Imagine that for that. You paint up your face, you go along, and it's gathering of the jugglers.
Oh no!
What a disappointment!
Terrible. Yeah, but enjoyable enough show. One thing I forgot to mention in Life Guff, we went to the shops on Saturday, popped into HMV.
Hell yeah!
Just to have a little, even if you don't buy anything, just have a little look around. So we're looking at the Criterion collection. Of course, we are Criterion. And I'm wearing my lightning fast VCR repair shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of lads there. They go, "Oh, where'd you get that Red Letter Media shirt?" I was like, this old man. Don't worry about it. Yeah, this I just got like that. Oh, it's cool. It's nice. Yeah. And I realised as well, not only that. So I'm looking at the Criterions, wearing my Red Letter Media shirt. I was also carrying a Mubi tote bag as well, and I was like, does it just look like I'm hanging out in HMV waiting for people to ask me whether I like cinema? The cinema, yes. Have you seen movies. You like those? Yes, I do. So yeah, that's my.
Are you from the TV show
highlight of the week.
studio? Is that you?
I'm an artiste. I'm an artiste.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
That's me.
I'm still reading my Aesop's Fables book here. I'm going to give you a fable to close out the show here. We'll pick a random one, go to a random page. The boy bathing is where we've fallen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what they, you can't walk up the road in 2025 without seeing some fucking boys bathing anymore, can you? A boy bathing in a river was in danger of being drowned. That's already he's made a critical mistake here. A boy bathing in a river was in danger of being drowned. He called out to a passing traveler for help, but instead of holding out a helping hand, the man stood by unconcernedly and scolded the boy for his imprudence. "Oh, sir," cried the youth, "pray help me now and scold me afterwards. Counsel without help is useless." So there you go. So the moral there is that the man was rebuking the boy, even though the boy was about to die and not be able to put into action the lesson that he was teaching him. He said, throw me that hand, good brother, and give out shit to me maybe once you've ensured my survival.
Give me the hot tag, and then
we'll talk about it.
Interesting. And
Very good. Yeah. It's very good. I mean, I'm going to give Aesop a review here. Very good book. But again, I'll just underline it again. €4 in my local bookstore. Be about £3.
Can't put a price on knowledge. You can't. Yeah, well, €4, but you cannot. There
you go. And I've read about 35 of them so far. When I'm passing by, I can just pick it up and go, "Oh, what's the next one I'm on?" "Oh, yeah, the lion, Angry in the Mouse or whatever." Good stuff.
That's going to do it for...
No, we have one feature left.
Oh, sorry. I do apologize. Sorry, yeah. This is like our version of Make Ricky Gervais laugh. Although ours is better because the audience can see this image.
They can eventually see.
They can actually eventually see it. Wait, I don't remember. What was the scene? Selling houses?
It's all pointing into the WrestleMania.
Oh, he's pointing to the WrestleMania. Very good. Very, very good. Oh, that haircut on Bill. Oh my goodness. Excellent stuff. That is it. Yeah, sorry, I nearly forgot about our recurring feature. That's going to do it, folks, for another jam-packed edition of the ChairShot Podcast. Hope you all had fun. ChairShotPodcast.com is where you want to go to send us an email. Check out the fantasy rankings in real time as well. If you would make a trade, what would it be? Let us know. And we'll be back next week with another show. Until then, folks, it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Paul.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Joe.
Goodbye, everybody.